Hello, hello. Hi. Everyone is currently muted, but can someone let me know if they can see and hear me okay? Yeah? Is it laggy?
Yeah.
Or is it okay?
It's good on my end.
Oh, phew. Okay, sorry for the late start, guys. I'll give you a bit of backstory as to why. Hey, Miranda, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while.
Howdy. Long time no see.
Hey, Amy, what's up? Yeah, how are you doing, Miranda?
Yeah, pretty good. Calligraphy's taken a back seat for the moment, but for the benefit of these guns, so.
Oh, that's everything. Bam, militant.
I lost about 20 kilos since the start of the year, so.
That's insane. Good for you.
Yeah.
You're
I don't
looking
even
very
know
well.
where I was keeping it, to be honest.
I mean, don't worry if you don't want to unmute yet. Can people use the chat? If you go down the bottom of the video and click chat, it will open the text chat. And could everyone just confirm if they can see and hear me okay, if it's not laggy? And then while I'm waiting on answers in the chat section, I'll tell you how today's been, because I hate being late for these things. So I got caught up in a workshop with Christo, which completely overran. So my phone starts going off, and I'm like, oh crap, I got the tribe call. And so I'm in Birmingham University, because I'm currently at Birmingham Design Festival. I did my first ever workshop yesterday. And then I'll tell you about that in a minute. But this place is freaking huge. So I just run about a mile around this university, trying about 5 different rooms, some of which didn't have plug points for my laptop. But hopefully this one's charging. Oh no, this one's not even charging. Hold on, let me try another plug point. Interesting. Okay, so the actual plug in this room doesn't seem to want to do anything. I might have to move rooms in a second. So I'm sorry guys, this is going to be a much more chaotic call than normal. I'm in the Birmingham University Library. Oh, who is this on screen? I don't think we've met yet. Wearing the black t-shirt. Hey man.
Me?
Yeah, hey.
Hey Tom, how are you?
I'm good. Have you been on a call before?
I have, but usually faceless, so it's
Okay,
different. It's changing.
Okay, cool. Well, it's nice to meet you face to face.
Yeah, you too, dude.
The people want to unmute for a second and just chat amongst yourselves. Ignore me. I'm going to be stumbling around Birmingham University Library trying to find a room with a working PowerPoint or power, you know what I mean? PowerPoint. Because otherwise my laptop is not going to last for the duration of this call. So please talk amongst yourselves. I will be all sorted in 5 minutes. I just didn't want to make it any longer. And that's a very cute cat around it.
Yeah, she's a bloody menace.
You sleep all day until I need to do something, and then you want to be involved.
I'm going to keep my video on. As I'm walking around, I can't really talk to you guys when I'm in a student library, because everyone's quietly working away. So I'm going to set some homework that everyone can put in the chat. I did this Facebook post recently. Hold on, let me change the recording format. Here we go. Yeah, so I did a post in the Facebook group recently, just asking what people enjoyed and what they didn't, and the format. So let me know in the chat if you want me to start by discussing a topic and almost do a kind of mini lecture around that. And then if you want all the questions to be based around that topic, or if you want to stick with the format of everyone just asking what's pertinent to them. I don't mind either. I can do a bunch of random questions, whatever would help you guys most, or center it around the topic. So I'll try and be quiet. So please let me know in the text chat and talk amongst yourself.
Hey Dave, how did your cold contact go?
Yeah. Can you hear me
today?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Not very good. Yeah, not great. Yeah, there were quite a few of them that were kind of closed, and most of the shops were kind of big chains. So I did go in a few and give out cards.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, did you get any? Like, what were their reactions when you were chatting with them?
Just kind of we're not wanting to do anything at a minute, and we'll keep your card and kind of the standard thing, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll have to come up with a new plan of attack, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's in lots of ways, like you just got to keep knocking on doors.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you-
it is.
yeah.
It's a numbers game. Paul's right. Hey, Dave. By the way, nice to see you
Oh,
face to face.
yeah. I'm a bit warm for some reason.
So am I. I've been sprinting around this campus trying to find a bloody room to talk to you. Okay, we're good. We're here. I've got charged on the laptop. I've got functional internet. I was this close. The internet was really slow at first. I nearly jumped in an Uber back to the hotel. So anyway, lovely to see everyone. Yeah, so let me know. I'm not seeing that many comments about this. Do you want to just go with the standard format where everyone kind of gets their block of time and then can ask away about their current marketing business struggles? Would that be most helpful? I am taking on board your feedback. I saw a bunch of it on the Facebook group and I'm working on some really nicely structured setup. I just haven't had time. It's been a crazy week, so I haven't got around to it yet.
I guess the format sort of probably depends on how many people join the call. It's obviously going to be a critical mass where it just becomes unfeasible. But you could potentially get around that by sort of doing a half-half and have like a Facebook poll or something in the 48 hours beforehand to sort of gauge what is most important to people this week and then do the lecture on that.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think we got a good, healthy number of people today, but nothing insurmountable. If I could get around 30 or whatever it was on the first one. How many have we got? We've got 12. 12 is fine. We can do 12 easily in 2 hours. So let's stick with that format. Can I have a little little sharing moment before we get into it, So I mentioned I just did this workshop. It's really scary for anyone that saw my post about this. Fear of public speaking has just always been a big thing. It's always terrified me. And it went really well. I got up there, I didn't get to bed until 2 in the morning because I hadn't started my presentation until about 14 hours before I gave it, which was scary. But yeah, we got up there and it was packed out. There was about 120 people in the space, and I'd never done it before. So initially I was like, oh dear God. But when I started, actually all of the nerves had melted away, and it was just a really good crowd, really interactive, got really into it. At the end, I saw a few workshops that had Q&A, and there might be like one question and everyone was really quiet. The Q&A went on for an hour. And so thank you to you guys. Like literally the lights started going off in the main building, and the volunteer who was helping was like, just keep it going. This is like helping me as well. But it ended up being like over 2 hours long in total. It's going to be about a 40-minute long workshop. Thank you to you guys, because you have very much been my kind of warm up for that, because we just did Q&A all the time. So I think, a year ago that would have terrified me. But I was like, some of the questions, the stuff that you guys ask all the time. So I was like, I've got this one, like that's fine. And then like Ian came up for the Q&A bit, and we were getting a little bit silly. Like I cracked a beer with a spoon that I stole from the cafeteria. So I started like having a beer just to relax a bit more. Did some weird scenario where I was like using flirting with Ian as like an analogy for marketing and that kind of thing. So it got a little bit silly, but it was really fun. And the whole final bit of my talk, which hopefully is helpful for you guys, is the going outside your comfort zone thing, and confidence lying on the other side of fear. And like immediately after doing it, I was just like, I feel really proud. Like instantly it's less scary. I'd get scared before to ask a question in someone else's workshop, and now I've just sat in on 2 of Christo's and just kept like chatting with him whenever he wanted like audience stuff, and I'm like, I don't really feel nervous anymore. So obviously it's not perfect, far from it, but it's a first very big step in that direction, and now I just want to go do it like 100 more times. But I promise, like for you guys, I'm definitely not like a natural with this stuff. I get very scared about it too. It doesn't come easy. So if there's anything where you're contemplating giving it a try, but it's a little bit scary. I implore you to try it because I think it's such a good exercise leaning into that scary stuff. So anyway, this is always so awkward with everyone's music because everyone's just like.
Yes. I saw Tom. I saw some of the Instagram photos of you giving your talk, and it looks like it went fantastic from people's little comments. And did you have was the setup like were you and Ian in like the middle of like just in the middle, just walking around talking? Was that I didn't see like a.
It's quite futuristic, so it's like a bunch of desks in a kind of oval around the center area, and then it's got screens, like giant screens around the sides. So your presentation is like on all the walls, and then all the desks have screens so they can see the presentation up close. And then they just mic you up, and you basically I was just pacing around the center bit, and it was really good. I didn't have that awkward thing of like who do I look at in the audience because I just kind of looked at my thing on the walls and went by that. But yeah, it's really addictive. 360 auditorium classroom. Yeah, exactly that. It's called The Hive. That's where I've just come from now. That's where Chris's thing was. Very insightful, by the way. He was talking about value-based pricing. So happy to basically nick all his stuff and give it to you if you want.
Yeah, and I mean, it looked like even like sometimes I remember when I was doing speaking things where try and hide behind like a lectern or something like that. And I saw you didn't have like that sort of thing, so I thought it was incredibly brave. Getting out there with nothing better to hide.
I think if you're stood stationary, that would have been worse for me. But I could just walk around the whole time and keep moving. It was good though. So anyway, watch this space. I'm going to do a bunch more. I've got the bug now already.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. And I did a bit. You guys will enjoy this, and I'm going to post about this later today. But I talk about like the triangle of like here's everyone, and try and boil down to like your true fans. And I always say like don't give the same amount of attention to everyone because that's not impossible. Because that is impossible rather. So really focus the limited time you have on like the people that matter most, that support you most, and those kind of fans for life, those true fans, and so on. So the whole point is, compared to some random fleeting follower that might like follow or unfollow me, they're worth very little in the scheme of things. But you guys here, and I say this every week, you're the people that matter most to me. Like you're showing up, you're invested. So I want to give inordinate amounts of value to you in a very direct way through these calls. And so I said to the people in the speech, I was like, we're going to see how this plays out. I was like, there's like 8,000 people at this festival. So that's top of the triangle. But 120 odd have showed up for this talk. So straight away we've filtered down to the people that matter. And then I said, right now I want everyone to get out their phone and DM me and just say, prove it. Because I'm talking a lot about caring about people and putting the work and that kind of stuff. I want you to DM me saying prove it, and I'm going to get back to every single person that does it with like a video, and I'm going to start a dialogue trying to give you value and answer your questions. And I was like, and this is going to filter again, because not everyone sat here is going to do it. And a lot of people like didn't get their phone out, even though they're enjoying it. But I was amazed, like 60 people did it. So it was about half. So I was like, that's great. And then out of those people, a lot of them, I'll message them and they're like, yeah, it was good, thanks, and that'll be it. And then some of them would continue a dialogue. And then some of them, if I out of 120 people, if I can get 3 that become fans for life, then the whole thousand true fans methodology. Well, that's 3 more towards 5,000, and that's just from one talk. So I'm really obsessed with that filtering down to the right people and just trying to give everything you can to them.
That's awesome.
Cheers, Fred. You've got a wonderfully deep voice. I didn't expect that.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds quite American, which is odd because I'm from Belgium. So.
It does sound a bit American. There's an Eastern European guy. How old are you, Fred, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 16 currently, so very young. Here to learn. So.
That's awesome. That makes me so happy. I didn't want to assume. You do look quite young, but man, have you got a head start? Like the fact you're on this call. compared to like, I think when I was 16, I was still like deep in the weeds of like misinformation and terrible marketing advice. So you just shortcut
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff, my friend.
Yeah, starting young.
Yeah, that's good for you. Well, I'm excited to try and help you take that somewhere. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into questions. I got Zolfa. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's right.
How are you? Do you want to kick things off? You are top left of my grid right now.
Do I want to what?
Do you want to kick things off with your question?
Sure. I don't really have sort of a. I mean, my question is pretty simple. I'm just starting off. I just sort of quit a full-time job about a month ago to go on my own. I've been a graphic designer for about 6 years, but really a month freelancing has been exciting and fun. It's actually on a separate note, the way I found out about the Honest Entrepreneur was through the Honest Designers, because right when I was about to make that big decision, that big leap, I needed to sort of get like advice from real people. And I remember looking up podcasts about making the leap from full-time to freelance, and the Honest Designer Show is the first episode I listened to. I think that was one of your first guys' episodes.
Yeah.
That's how I got to Design Cuts and to you. So it's been interesting. And one thing I've noticed that you say often is to not put all your eggs in an Instagram basket, which I've been doing a lot of. Not quite ready for an email setup yet. What was that? Sorry?
I talked about this yesterday.
Yeah. So not quite ready for an email list and all that, but what I've been doing is sort of getting on different social media platforms and different designer platforms like Behance and stuff like that. But one thing I was wondering, and I don't know if this is just me being subjective, I don't know how I feel about Twitter and Facebook for designers, and I haven't been feeling really comfortable getting on those platforms, and I'm wondering, is that okay? Like, do I not need to be on all different kinds of platforms, or is there something that I'm missing with Facebook and Twitter that might be valuable of being there? Because I don't know. I mean, maybe because the way I've known Facebook and Twitter is to be kind of sort of casual and personal. But I think that's probably, I don't know if I got that right. So I guess that's my question is there something there that I'm missing with Twitter and Facebook as opposed to, Instagram and Dribbble and Behance and all of these that most designers get on?
Sure. So first of all, congratulations on making the leap. That's really exciting. And welcome to everyone showing up. Oh, we've got Tara and Doris as well. And Colleen, and I saw, is he gone? There was Connor. We got Connor? Or is he gone? It might have, loads of people showing up suddenly. Anyway, hey guys, thank you for being here. So your question is like, are you missing a trick by not being on some of these social media platforms, basically?
Yep.
My answer would be yes.
Okay.
You are. So the caveat here is, I'm not on everything. In a dream world, I would be crushing it on every single platform, but I'm realistic and we're all human. We have a limited number of hours in the day. In my case, I have very, very little hours because this is like a condensed side hustle. So whilst I aspire to that, and I'm kind of slowly creeping towards that, like I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, just got on Twitter recently, just got a Facebook group for you guys. I'm not on Behance, Dribbble, etc., and I'm not like rushing on all those platforms. I'm pretty neglectful of Twitter, although I hope to fix that. But I think you need to understand that, what is the nuance and what is the power of each platform, because they're very, very different. And I think what can be a good idea is having your pillar. So that's like the spine that holds up the body, right? So generally we have one platform where we really, really crush it. But I'm sure everyone here understands the purpose of diversification is just reducing risk, right? And so I think that's definitely a smart idea, particularly as in my case, probably Instagram's my strongest personal platform. But I'm not blind to the fact the algorithm is probably going to crush a lot of us in the next few years. So hence I want to diversify. In terms of missing out on these particular, am I coming? Okay, I'm coming off as quiet. Hold on, let me see if I can add up that. Guys. Yeah, this is not the usual setup. I haven't got my microphone. How about now? That should be a little bit louder. I've nearly doubled the input. Better? Yeah, amazing. Thanks, guys. It's so reverby in here. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm in like a box room. This is about as big as the hotel room they put me up in as well. So yeah, I think you need to look at the nuance. You need to understand how each platform works. So I love Instagram for a lot of reasons. I think it's got a lot of benefits in terms of like it's very good for like DMing with people and connecting with people. It's open, not closed off like most people's Facebook profiles. It's great for what you can do in terms of putting content out there. So I'm sure you understand Instagram, but you mentioned Facebook and Twitter, I think. So what I think Twitter has become is really a tool less for content marketing and more for one-to-one connections and conversations. And because it's so open source, even more so than Instagram, it can be slightly weird on Instagram. Like if you just jump into conversations on other people's profiles, like it's still kind of acceptable if you do it the right way. But I think that's much more part of the common narrative of Twitter as a platform. You know, it is the water cooler of the internet. So I think that is how everyone should be using Twitter. That's how I want to start using it. And I used to think about it in terms of like, I'm going to push out content and monitor how many hits it gets or how much traffic I can pull back to my site. I think it really is like a networking platform. So that's where you think these are the 50 to 100 people who I really should be getting to know in my industry. And they might not be the biggest A-listers. You start with people a bit more approachable, but people where you want to get on their radar, you want to build relationships. And then you just converse with them like you were at a drinks mixer. You just start adding value to their conversations, liking their stuff, and chatting. So Instagram, you might be pushing more content out and handling the visual stuff. Twitter's where you're just having 50 little chats every single day, and it's networking in that sense. And then Facebook, I think what's really effective and hot right now is groups. Because the algorithm's gone backwards on pages so much. Like, yes, you can have a page, yeah, you can do some advanced stuff with like how you boost those posts and target the right people and so on. But if I had limited time, which both of us do, I've just launched a group for this Patreon community. I haven't yet had the time to like structure that properly, but already a bunch of people have joined it. They're asking questions, it's becoming bigger than just me, and people are helping each other out. But I'm absolutely going to start doing stuff with a content calendar around that, where I have weekly series of like provoking discussions and asking questions and doing some cool stuff in that group setting. And because I'm all about community, I think Facebook groups can be like a real close-knit hub of people, and it can be a really special thing. But they're all completely different, so it's not like I can just take my Instagram strategy and dump that on Facebook. That wouldn't work. So yes, it's work because you essentially have to treat each one independently based on the nuances of that platform. So the short answer is yes, you're missing out if you just stay on Instagram as your main platform. It will probably hurt you in the long run. So I would put in the work to figure out and learn these other platforms and put in the time and work to actually provide value on them. But water cooler groups and Instagram would be a good starting point. Don't try and add 5 at once. You know, maybe just start with Twitter, and you're not going to have that down perfectly from day one. You might start by just going, here's the 50 people, and I'm going to start by just chatting with 4 of them and take it from there. So you're not going to figure it out overnight, but just get the ball rolling. Like my Twitter's tiny right now. I think I mentioned it once that I was on Twitter on an Instagram story. So let's have a look. I probably find time to get on it like once every 4 days. I respond to the people who've said stuff to me because I never want to ignore anyone, and I occasionally push out an original tweet. I'm not doing the whole networking water cooler thing because I'm desperately trying to find the time. And so yeah, as a result, like I've got like 54 followers, and like it's very early days, right? But I can already see the benefit because whenever I'm on there and I start chatting with people, conversations just spring up like weeds. It's a very social platform. And after judging and neglecting Twitter for a lot of years, I'm now kind of falling back in love with it because I just find it so organic and it's so easy to start chatting with people. And I think it's gone from, initially everyone hated it because it had a noise issue where it's like, oh, my tweets aren't getting seen anymore, but it's just become a new beast where it's not about that, it's about the one-to-one stuff, which I love.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you so much.
I said this in the workshop, I was like, I am not good at giving a short answer, just for you guys.
That was perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. And then for everyone, like the fact you're part of this, like, obviously it's easier to do in person like this. We can go back and forth, but if you have follow-up questions or questions about anything else, like DM me. That's why you're in the tribe. So, yeah. Paul, you are next, my man. Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. I guess coming off the back of that question, we were sort of chatting on Instagram comments about LinkedIn as a platform to look at, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on the best way to use that. It seems, from as I look at sort of LinkedIn, it seems like engagement can sometimes be quite low, not from my stuff, but just generally from what I've seen. But also, how do you treat? Do you treat it more like? Is it more professional? Is it similar to Instagram in some ways in terms of how you use it, or how much of yourself you show versus how much of the professional sort of side you show? I guess, yeah.
Sure. So, great question. And what time is it for you, by the way, Paul? Ridiculous.
It is 2:04 in the morning. Okay. So better than last time.
Yeah, we started slightly early.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm sure. Well, I appreciate you showing up as always. Okay, so I think LinkedIn, and I'll be completely honest, this is not a platform that I, as of yet, have like crushed, but I have worked with people on it. I have like observed a lot, so I think I have some good ideas about it. But as always, like I only like to kind of share what I've done. So I'll tell you my thoughts on it, but this is going to be the methodology which I actually do myself. So what's going to be more interesting is when I then document that, and I'm like, here's what actually worked and what didn't. So I think LinkedIn tends to be a bit of a blend platform because it has like, you're putting out content which might be similar to something like Medium or Instagram. Equally, I think it can have a little bit of the water cooler thing going on where you're going and getting involved in other people's conversations and commenting on their stuff. And yeah, there is a bit of a nuance of like the professional side. That being said, I don't think you need to be there in like a suit and tie. I think the way you brand yourself elsewhere is perfectly professional, including on your website. Your rebrand is gorgeous, so that's great. But if I were you, my simple strategy would just be quality over quantity. I always talk about this, so it doesn't matter if stuff isn't like blowing up and going viral on that platform in the same way it might on another. It's more, are the right people seeing it? And because it's a professional platform, it's a lot easier to convert that into sales and business, because that's what people are natively on there to do, is to network, is to find business, is to sell themselves, but also, find other people that are going to help them with their services and products. So what I would do is I would be putting out content around how to help your ideal clients. So less of the like, here's pretty pictures and time lapses that you put on Instagram, and more like, here is a case study that I did with a client and all the benefit they got. Or here is like more of a theoretical piece backed up with some examples in terms of like, here's why branding your kids book in this way can make such a difference. I talked about this on the Honest Designer show, but I still think an interesting piece of content could be a comparison thing, where you could get like a before and after. You get like more of a plain book cover, and then you get one that you designed, and you go out to the general public, and you're like, do a short video being like, which one do you prefer? And you're like, as you can see, 98% of people would rather buy this one. So for all the children's book people out there and all the kids book publishing companies, like, this is like, empirical proof that I know my work will, not just look nice, but actually bring in the sales and bring in the monies and help get that book out there more. So, you know what I mean? That's more native.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been trying to, whether it's interact. I follow a whole bunch of like publishers, and sort of, if they post something, I'll interact on it, or I might reshare. There was someone that put out some stats about the benefits of reading for children, and so I shared that, or reposted it, and that sort of thing, and trying to interact a bit in that way. There's also I've set up I guess a company page for myself, as well as I've got my personal profile too.
Okay.
Is there?
What's wrong with using your personal profile? Because you're on LinkedIn to find work, right? So what's wrong with your personal profile like a business profile?
Well, it is, except it's more, I guess, when there's a company. It's my company page, which has just got, so at the moment it's got some examples of my work and my contact details. But it seems like when you interact, say, with another account, you do it from the personal page. Yeah, and so it's I'm just trying to work out all of those things of how it all works.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it sounds potentially like an extra unnecessary step, because you will end up posting content on your company page and then having to repost it on your personal page, so that when you're interacting with other people's content and they organically come back to your page, they're going to see that content. So in my view, you might as well just post the content natively to your personal page.
Yes. Yeah. I do. Yeah.
So what I would do is I would go very, very clear. So you know how originally when we talked, your Instagram was a bit more fuzzy and vague, and I was really lean into it, own it. Your picture, your bio section, your website, all your copywriting, all your content, everything needs to scream, I'm a kids illustrator, right? And so you're more fully committed. I would do that on LinkedIn, but to an extreme level, and in this more kind of professional sales capacity. So if you're putting out content saying I will help you, the video could literally have the title, I will help you sell more kids books. And then if you put out a piece of content around that, like the stuff I alluded to, that's very direct. You could have in your bio, you're if you're reading this, it's probably because you're in the children's book industry, and here's the value which I really want to bring you, and I would love to talk, so hit me up. So then when you go out and network, and you need to have a base. So when you're going out and leaving all these breadcrumbs and communicating with these people in a professional, value-adding, engaging way, then you want them to organically just be curious and check out your stuff and check out your base. But when everything on that base is basically the top level of a sales funnel, it's going to do better for you. So instead of it just being your LinkedIn page for the sake of having one, you want every person to land on that page to immediately understand who you are, what you do, the value you can bring them. All the content should be demonstrating that value and exciting them. It should be speaking to their soul. So it's not just here's everything I've done over the last 20 years of my career. It should be
yes,
and screw everyone else. Screw the big numbers. You only want your potential dream clients hitting that page. Doesn't matter if anyone else uses it. You could get 7 people a month land on that page. But if those 7 people land on it and they're oh my God, it's this guy was created by God himself to be the solution for our needs, that's kind of owning your space.
Yes. And so there's a side where there's more of the the value that you bring to clients side, and in terms of and then I was trying to work out how then you also have, in my case, my portfolio stuff on that page as well, and so that they can see. I guess it's a balance of my work, but also what value I can give other people.
Yeah, well, I would have your work, but in the form of case studies, because that's professional. So not just a grid of images, but you cherry pick the top 2, 3, 4, and then you literally break down here was the client's experience and the results it got them and why it worked for them, and turn that into content.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, thank you.
It's all right. And I feel that in itself is a quite substantial bit of homework, right? And this is what I talk about. It's every week, if you do something that moves the needle, that can really compound and add up over time. So you do your day-to-day work, you respond to the DMs, you do all of that. But if in a week's time I'm at school, you're like, you know what, I put in the work and I revamped my whole LinkedIn profile. It's now a much more effective top of the sales funnel. It's got some great content on there. And now I'm much better positioned for people to be coming back and hitting that profile and actually converting. That would be a really productive week's work. If you've got nothing else done as like the extra stuff, that would be a big step forward.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that.
That's all right. And you've already done this, right? So with your website, that went to me like kind of okay to going through like 3 or 4 iterations, and now it's incredibly good.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think similar with Instagram, like, it's definitely stronger. And I've seen, since I've been focusing on the children's stuff, I've seen growth in engagement, but also in people following, and it's been great.
Cool. Literally, as you said that, my mouth like spontaneously just burst into a smile. That's how happy that makes me. So good for you, mate.
Thank you.
Anytime. And again, like, obviously love having you here, but if you need to go get sleep at any stage, and anyone else, if it's like 3 a.m. for you, like, please shout and I'll get to you first. And if you want your question answered and then go get some sleep. I'm looking at you, Miranda, actually. I mean, you're welcome to sit in for the whole thing, you guys, but I'd rather get around those people first. Yay, Rachel. Oh, that's cool hair. You dyed your hair, or is that the camera? You dyed it. Nice. Miranda, do you want to go and then sleep, or do you want to be here for the whole thing?
I probably should. I probably should sleep, but I don't know. I'm a bit awake now. I don't really have a question per se, I suppose, though.
There's no pressure, even though it's been ages and ages.
Yeah, no.
1,000 questions. You've been too busy just getting incredibly fit and healthy.
A little bit. It's sort of, I think I'm still frustratingly at the beginning of the journey, even though, I've obviously been on calls with the tribe for must be at least 6 months. And there's lots of good ideas, but they all seem like 2 or 3 steps ahead of where I'm at. And I'm not entirely sure how to get from A to B.
Okay. So where do you want to go? Let's break it down. And I'm not crazy huge lifetime plans. What would be the next step forward where you're like, is it you want to make a sale of something? Do you want to launch something? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I suppose so. Because I obviously did the forays into podcast and I didn't mind it, but it was a lot of work for something I didn't love enough to keep sinking time into. I'm glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I've got the ones that I've got. But right now not really feasible. Would it be something I would pick up when I've got more hours in the day to dedicate to it? Yeah, maybe.
Cool. You're never going to have more hours, by the way. Not really.
Well, no, but more hours that I can actually dedicate to what I want to be doing and not a full-time job.
But I'm saying that's probably never going to happen. So I think the issue here is that you didn't like it enough, not as opposed to not having enough hours.
Maybe. Yeah, it would definitely always take a back seat. And when I know that these things are sort of ebbs and flow, and to some extent you've always got stuff going on in your life.
Yeah.
But it does feel like I've got a particularly large amount going on in my life at the moment. So definitely took more of a back seat than normal. I think I've found reasonably good engagement from just sharing my process, and particularly when I ask people, have a few progress posts and then ask everyone an opinion when I'm partway through the process. Okay, which way looks best to proceed? But I think
I would love to kind of hone in on the end goal though, because that's great, but that is that's an Instagram hack of asking a question to get people to vote. Like, that always gets more engagement. It's a good tip, but I feel like that's not going to ultimately be the main goal for you, right? To get a few more Instagram comments.
that's true.
It's a hard question. All right, so let me throw out a few ideas. Like, like you want to make money from this, right? You ideally
Yes,
would like this to be full time.
and I've always said I would much prefer to do effectively create work that I like, that I think is fun, and find other people that think the same way I do. So I would, not that I would ever turn down a commission. Obviously, money is money, but ideally, I would be producing work that other people like enough to buy prints of, rather than being commissioned to do one-off pieces.
Yeah. Okay. So, sorry, I had a bunch of people like screaming and clapping outside. I don't know if you guys heard that. Super distracted. So, yeah. So the dream is you would like to be full time in your calligraphy business, right? Rather than just like enjoy it more or do a little bit more as a side hustle. So you want to go full time. So several angles there. You kind of touched on some, but client work. What we're saying, yay or nay?
Rather not, if I can. I mean, obviously, like if it comes on my plate and any step towards that is a step in the right direction, but it's not what I ultimately want to be doing.
So teaching.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd say yes, but I don't. It's not the end goal.
Okay. Selling prints and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one. Okay, so first of all,
which I realise is always the
hardest one. Yeah. And even most people I know who are like doing that successfully, that's like one income stream. That's not the entire business, and that's when they've got like a huge brand and that kind of thing. So you want to sell physical prints?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, digital ones would work as well, but I assume probably physical ones are more lucrative.
Okay. So what's stopping you doing
that? Lack of faith in my own ability.
I mean, do you know the steps to do it?
Yes, in terms of like physically creating stuff and putting it out there, I've had like I've done things like Redbubble, and I would be able to certainly go to websites that do more art prints, and would be focused on the kind of audience that would probably be more interested in what I'm doing. I think I guess it's almost a little bit of imposter syndrome. I am perpetually stuck in a loop of I'm not good enough to be doing this yet.
Well, I would disagree. I think some of your work's fantastic.
Thanks. I guess it's hard because it's like you're perpetually comparing yourself to people that are better than you as like inspiration and to learn from and stuff, but it does get to you. And inherently, when you let a skill like that, the more that you know, the more you know you don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it. First of all, they're not better than you, they're just further along on the journey. So what I know it's kind of semantics, but it's true. So if I were you, I don't think Redbubble and sites of that nature are the answer. Anyone I work with who sells on those sites or has in the past is like, it really doesn't work because the margins are so tiny when it really boils down to it. So if we're trying to reverse engineer success, that's an awful lot of prints at a very bad margin. Yes. It's not the best business model. So I would do two things. I would sell them yourself if possible.
Okay.
Then you get all the margin.
Well, the good news is my day job is in a print shop, so that makes that bit easy.
Good. Perfect. How serendipitous. So so I would sell them yourself, but then realize that is, that's more profitable.
Sorry. Get rid of the cat.
If you print it yourself, that solves the profit issue.
There we go. Sorry.
Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
The cat pulled my cable out while it left, just to spite me.
Yeah, can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
If you print it yourself, that solves the profit issue. It's more labor and it's more work, but it solves the profit issue. So you have to sell less units to get to your number. But that's a very long game as well, because in order to sell enough copies, enough prints, you'd have to have a probably substantially bigger audience and brand. like I was talking about in my workshop, the sale. Oh, Rachel, you appeared in the workshop, by the way. Literally, it said Rachel in giant letters across all the.
I gotta say the mentions have been a bit much for me. Like I gotta up my online presence here just so that I look respectable now.
I basically, I wish I had it. It'll be here somewhere. Where are you? Let me just open this up. Yeah, so there's this slide, and it says the heading in giant letters is marketing plan. And I was saying this seems to be most people's marketing plan as a creative. And the people are screaming outside, by the way. Don't know if you can hear that.
I did hear it that time.
Yeah, crazy students. Okay, so most creatives' marketing plan seems to be post work on social media, grow an audience very slowly of peers rather than potential clients, so other designers, other letterers. Do this for years and years and years, very slowly until you get a much larger audience, hopefully, but that's not guaranteed. And then finally hope that either clients DM you asking for work, or that people just kind of naturally click through to your bio link and start buying prints or whatever it is you're selling. Just give a little thumbs up, anyone, if that sounds very familiar. Okay, you can see a few thumbs. I think when I did this in the workshop, everyone was like, yeah, like guilty. So it doesn't work for a lot of reasons. And then I gave Rachel as the example because I was like, Rachel in my community has 69 followers. She recently pivoted from doing this.
70. 70.
Sorry.
So.
And I was like, she recently pivoted from doing bespoke kits and lettering to copywriting, mainly for creatives. And in like her first week of doing this, practically, she landed 4 big clients. Lauren Homney and Barnard, one of the biggest digital scrapbookers, and Design Cuts. And she did it by going into sales mode instead of branding mode. So instead of like very slowly building up an audience and waiting until it's big enough that a tiny percentage of them hopefully contact you to circumvent the whole sales thing, that's fine, but realize that building a brand takes years. So you can sell your own prints and have your own website, but it's going to be a very, very slow process and something you build up over years to the point, it's going to be a big celebration when you sell that first print. And then you're going to try and sell one a month and then one a week. Hopefully you get to the point you're selling daily, but that will take years. Like with this thing that I'm building here, this is like a 5 to 10 year plan to actually scale this to anything that's going to be, a good size. So then you look at sales, and if I were you, I'd be hitting up galleries rather than using people like Redbubble, and I'd be trying to sell through them. So I would literally talk to physical galleries where it's like, I'm not selling this generic print for $9 and getting 30 cents, and I need to sell 1 billion of them to actually pay my bills. I'm talking to the gallery and saying like, I'm going to do this like custom art, or I do this kind of big scale art, and you're going to sell it.
And
for
presumably,
like
there's obviously physical places that I can go locally,
yeah.
but there would be like online places that are similar, that are more premium, that attract that sort of clientele as well.
I would start local, to be honest, because it's going to be more immediate, like hearing what the potential objections are and seeing, start and just kind of work out what are the objections, what are they receptive to, etc., etc. But I can think of my local town. If I was an artist, there's no way I'd be jumping on Redbubble if I wanted to make some money. I'd be walking into all those galleries, trying to be as like charismatic as I could and get to know the owner and be like, look, I drive past all the time. Like, I love the work you guys have in the front windows. Like, I've heard really good things. I've had friends that have bought from you. Here's some of my work, and here's why I think it could be a great fit and hopefully make you some good sales as the gallery owner. And I would just have that conversation over and over again and systematically work through a list of potential people with that.
I'm certainly in the right city for it, so
great.
No
so
excuse.
I would do that. You could do that, get one painting into one gallery and sell it in 4 months' time, and you would have made more than like 80 years of Redbubble sales
by comparison
Yeah.
when it boils down to the margins.
No, because I way back in the day had a few minor illustrations on Redbubble, and I think one of them got featured once. And I do like sell stickers semi-regularly, but it's like 30 cents every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So
It's not a viable business.
Yeah, and that was honestly luck of the draw that I got. Effectively, the only reason that really ticks over is because it was featured once, and once you're featured, you turn up more in the algorithms.
I don't like anything that's not controllable, and that's very uncontrollable. That's like hoping for a feature that's going to make you 60 cents. It's not a great business plan. So take back the control, go one-to-one to the actual gallery owners, and at least
and presumably I should really realistically effectively have a portfolio, have stuff that I've got ready to go, willing to sell when I'm doing these pitches. Otherwise,
absolutely. Like your best, most inspiring stuff. The same way I embarrassed Hannah whenever we're around people, and I get my phone out and I'm like, look at this guy's work, and the reaction's always, wow. That's what you want the gallery owner's reaction to be like, wow, that's great. Yeah, let's have this conversation. I don't know exactly what the margins are going to be, but I'm going to guess they're a hell of a lot better than Redbubble. I don't know if it's like 50 or what. Like,
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just saw Susie's comment. And also, hi Shivani, who I met some tribe members at this thing yesterday. It was really cool. Don't know if you can hear me, Shivani, but thank you again for coming. Yeah, she was at the talk.
I was there.
Were you on the call? I was kind of raving about it at the start. Were you on at that point?
I was near the end of the point that you were talking about it.
Yeah, it was really fun, and thank you. You calmed my nerves just chatting to you beforehand.
No, but thank you it was a great talk.
Thank you. Appreciate
it was
that.
really good.
It was fun.
And it was great seeing you in person.
Tall. I always hear that I'm taller than people expect. No, it was really nice to meet you. I hope you had a good evening.
I did. I managed to get back on time to put my kids to bed.
This is really weird talking to you now when we've just been hanging out downstairs from here yesterday. Susie, I'm loving Susie's comments today. Miranda, I hope that helps. Next up in the grid is Liz. Hey Liz, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good. Earlier we were getting some food with Christo. Oh, name drop. I was kind of moaning and saying like, oh god, like it was so fun, but I think mentally and physically, like I'm really exhausted. And he was like, you kidding me? I just got 3 hours sleep. I'm jet lagged. I just flew from Australia after doing like 3 consecutive talks, and I'm 47 years old. And I was like, okay, fine, I get it. I'm gonna stop moaning. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, but he's 100% hustle, so the messaging is a little different. Yeah.
And I met his sons. They're really sweet. One of them's like really small, but very very cute. What was your question, Liz?
You talk a lot about not being spammy. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to be spammy. Absolutely not. It's like the thought stresses me out, and I'm thinking, well, what? I know like the general like check out my portfolio. That's absolutely spammy. But like as promoting yourself, mm-hmm. What do you feel is spammy?
Okay, so good questions today, guys. And also, I need to work out a format of where to collect these, but hopefully everyone's watching or listening to the daily show. So we're doing daily Q&A right now. In fact,
I'm going to write Liz's down because that's a good one.
Okay.
I didn't catch the other one.
Although I'm slightly aware then, I'm just going to end up giving the same answer on the show.
Yeah, but that's like way more people. Like we get the special one-on-one answer where we get to like pick your brain. Those people just get like 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so I actually love the Gary Vee methodology when it comes to this. And he's very clear about like when you're jabbing, as he talks about, you're putting out content and trying to help people, you're doing that. When you're selling, you sell. And I think so many people get very reticent when they're trying to sell, and that actually makes for an awkward sale. It makes for an awkward sales pitch because they're so afraid of doing it and afraid of like being scammy and sleazy. They kind of half sell, where it's like, I'm kind of mask it as helping you, but really I'm trying to make a sale. And that actually comes off as spammy because it's like, well, are you trying to help me or are you trying to suck me in for a sale? So you'll notice, right, when I use this as an example, this Patreon. So help people all the time, every single day, just months and months and months and months of help. And even though I didn't really have any intention of selling anything, I had the conversation of like, yeah, I need to, and I want to scale the tribe. I need this dollar filter to kind of keep the best people in. So I was like, okay, I guess that's something I need to sell. So what did I do? I put out a story poll and I said, vote on this and let me know if you're interested in paying $1. And in the run up to that story poll, I bigged it up, right? I was like, I'm really excited about this. Like, here's what it's going to look like. It's going to be great. You know, everyone can get like emotionally invested in that and get context on that. And then I did the story poll, like, are you willing to pay $1? Are you excited to potentially be part of this? And there was about 60 of you who voted yes. So then I thought, I hate this shouting into the void, as I always say, selling on Instagram, where it's like, someone please listen. I talked about this in my workshop. It's like throwing sand into a tornado. It's just gone. You're lost in the noise instantly. So I much prefer the direct approach, right? And so I was like, I'm not just going to put something in my bio link and then do another story and be like, it's now available. Please go to my bio link and click through. That sucks. So what did I do? I got the 60 people and I wrote a list of them all. And I split it into 2 groups in the DMs because you can only have 35 people in a group. And initially I did that because I was like, this is going to be really long if I message 60 people individually. So I'm just going to put them in a group. But then my marketing brain kicked in and I was like, oh, well, the side impact of that is it's going to be more like community feel, having like everyone in these groups chatting together. So it's less work for me and it's more fun and interactive for everyone else. And it's going to be a better sales tool. So if you guys remember, I then jumped on video and I was like, guys, like, I really, really appreciate you, which is true, showing an interest in this thing. Like, that means the world. Like, I'm really excited to start this up. And it was full of like passion and energy and excitement. I was like, this is going to be great. And I was like, and I was going to do this at the weekend, but I've set it up now because I had. And so I put it in and I was like, go here. And like, you told me you want to be part of this. Like, if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, go here. Like, here's where you sign up. And out of the 60 people, I don't have exact figures because then I mentioned it later and some people came from that. But literally, I think it was nearly 100%. Out of the 60, it was between 50 and 60 people that showed up. And Dave, I missed you off that. Sorry, you must have not voted in the poll, if that's the case. But sorry, and remind me after this. I'll add you to one of the groups that's going. But there's a few reasons why that worked, because it cut through all the noise and bullshit of social media and it went direct to you guys. I wasn't trying to sell to people that didn't want to be sold to, because you validated the fact that you were interested. So that's another key step. You put your hand up and went, actually, I want to buy this. So it wasn't spammy. And then the social proof of it was crazy, because initially, like straight away, people were like, I joined. That was like the hardcore people. There were a lot of other people that were kind of maybe on the fence or thinking about it. But when every day they're seeing all their friends sign up and everyone's like, oh, this is great. Like, we're all going to hang out. It's like some exclusive club. I can't wait for the Cool Friday. It's going to be great to see everyone. If you're one of the like 3 people that hasn't signed up at that point, that's kind of awkward that you're in a group of people talking about this private thing that you're not part of. So they're like, no, I guess I'm going to sign up too. And so suddenly there's like 60 patrons and now it's like 70 something, because I haven't really done anything to promote it at all since then. Because my goal right now is not turning that 70 into 300. It's trying to give as much value to you guys as I can. But that's one example of many. And I think there's a few key lessons there, right? So it's like, only sell to the people that want to be sold to. When you're selling, sell. Like, be very direct about it. Don't beat around the bush. Don't mask it in helping. Just sell. But you can do that in an excited way. Be passionate. You know, you're selling something that's going to bring them more value than what they pay for it, right? That's the idea. Anyway, that's what you should be doing. So if you're like, this is great, you're my person, like, this is really going to help you. I'd love to work with you on this. So hopefully that helps in like a holistic mindset way, but let's go specific. Like, what are you trying to sell and what are you feeling uncomfortable about?
Me? Oh, well, I made
And
that.
sorry, just before we jump into that, did everyone know about all that kind of like Jedi mind trick shit that was going on? Did you think about it in terms of that, or were you like, this is just a fun group to be part of? Because it can be both. That's the beauty of like good marketing. It can be fun and interactive and have pure intent, but it can be really effective in converting people. So did anyone realize that was happening at all?
No.
Great. Okay, that's good. Sorry, Liz.
I'm gonna say yes, but that's just because I have had the benefit of listening to you talk about this, doing this like mind trick stuff for the last couple of months. Tamara's with me. Tamara knows what I'm talking about.
I know that. It's like, oh, here it comes. I see it.
Yeah. Oh, another group. Okay, here we go with the group.
I'm not trying to like rip you guys off there. Like, you know, it's.
I didn't feel ripped off. I just was like, oh, I know what's happening here.
Yeah. No, exactly. But that's the common objection, right? It's like, oh no, I can't possibly use actual sales tactics that appeal to people's psychology. That's sleazy. No, it's only sleazy if you're like pushing shit on them that they don't want or that's not going to actually bring them value. So, yes, and I'm glad you guys got it. That's because you're OGs in the tribe. Liz, sorry to cut you off. Take it away.
You're okay. I've always thought about like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a digital product, and I never accomplish it because I overthink everything. Like I know most of you have that same thing.
I don't know what that's like at all. I overthink everything too, for sure.
Yeah. And I really just have been trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So on like a total whim, I got because I'm part of Skillshare. So I got like, be a teacher. So I thought, well, I'll try this. So that's what I did. And I did publish it. I'm not 100% happy with what I put out. It's okay. It's going to happen because you're going to pick it apart. But I did make a Skillshare course that I was really excited to make. And I enjoyed making it. It's just like when you record something, like in your video the other week where you were like, the motorcycle drove by and like my kids were vacuuming my car. My husband was building a deck. I'm just like, I can't record anything. So sorry about my extra.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, for the record, I just recorded my first video course, and that had like a rented space, perfect lighting, and perfect sound quality, hopefully. So I'm not saying put out like a sloppy audio track for your Skillshare course. It's more like the rapid fire daily content on social media and stuff where I'm like, don't be so perfect about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know
What are you trying to sell? What are you feeling awkward about selling?
Anything. If I ask for anything, I feel awkward. I just don't.
So let's pick one thing and let's do an exercise because I've just got semi-involved in this in Chris's workshop, which was really awkward because he's very intense. And but let's role play it. So pick something to sell and then try and sell it to us.
Okay. Try to sell it to you now. Try to sell it to you now.
Yeah, what do you want to sell?
Oh goodness. I don't know.
Well, like a Skillshare course, or
what have you got?
Anything else?
What have you got to sell?
I was going to say the Skillshare course. Sell it to us.
Okay. All right. So I was really, really excited about when I saw the feature for animated GIFs coming out for Skillshare. And I was like, because I never use GIFs for anything except for really stupid videos with my family, pretty much. Like, here's Napoleon dancing, or just people dancing, like to celebrate. That's basically the only use of GIFs I've ever used.
Yeah.
So how am I going to do that? What can I do to my illustrations that I've been drawing, because I love Procreate? So I just thought, well, I'll just make a course on how I do that, how I would build these animations. And that's what my course is. I just want to add fun to illustrations.
That sounds really cool.
And I'm an illustrator, let's say. How's that going to help me?
I also have knowledge of animation, and for my day job, I've worked with animation things. So I talk about how you can mask things, or you can erase them, or how you can guide layer, and you can, make a path with things.
That's awesome, but that's kind of more about you and your expertise / like what's in the course. But how is it going to help me?
How's it going to help you?
Yeah, as if I'm an illustrator right now.
It will give you a new outlook on when you make something, about how you may add some kind of interest to it and add a little extra flair to your animation, and add some movement.
Okay. So between like the last two things you said, I felt a dramatically different energy on the second one. That interested me more. And I was like, okay, it's going to add more flair to my work. When you started being like, well, I've got an animation background and you're diving straight into the nuts and bolts, you kind of lost me a bit, especially if that were your opening. So it's like, okay, so let's push that a bit further. Like, and how's that going to help me? Like, great, I understand it might add a bit more flair, but why do I want that? And does it do anything else for me, this course?
I don't know. There are project files that are shared that you can practice with and see how I've set them up.
Mm-hmm. But now you're going back to like the bones of what's in the course. And by the way, you're doing great. This is meant to be uncomfortable, so I'm not trying to be a dick. But I'm just getting the point. Like, there's 16 people on this call right now, so, and we're all friends and no one's judgmental. So this is going to be like the easiest room you get for this conversation. So this is the safe place, the trust tree, So rather than what's in the course, like what's it going to do for me? You kind of mentioned flair.
For you, it will. It could help your Instagram feed or your social media feed. And with someone sees something moving, they may stop and look at it for a little longer. They may comment on it. They may want to know how
they may or they will. Like, do you know that to be true?
Absolutely, because I've stopped other people's things.
But you know that just from looking, or do you know that to be a fact?
I know it from my experience. Is that when I see a video or I see something come up in my feed and I'm like, oh, what's that? How did they do that? What are they doing? And then you kind of investigate their work a little more. And then you start looking at the other things they did and you want to see what they're doing.
Okay. I agree, but that's kind of a gut feeling and that's just you. So have you got any data to back that up?
No, I don't have any data. No data.
Okay. Could you find some with like how videos perform versus images on Instagram, for example?
I'm sure I could. I'm sure if I do some research. Yeah.
Okay. And why do I want my stuff to do better? Like, is my stuff not doing well enough currently?
I don't know. It's probably great the way it is.
No, I appreciate that. That's very kind. But like, I'm your ideal client potentially in this scenario. So, it's your job to deeply understand me, like my pain points and my wants and my needs and desires, right? So, like, let's say I'm like Ian Barnard, but without the big audience and a little bit less talented. So I like combining like lettering and illustration, but currently it's just images on my Instagram. So is there anything else? Like, why do I want to do better with these posts?
I don't know. It could help grow your following. It could help you get your, keep evolving your style and learning new things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're starting to get there. Can I flip it?
This is so painful and uncomfortable to watch. Like I've watched this so many times before.
Yeah,
Liz, I just want to, like, you're doing a great job, Liz. He's done this to literally all of us before. We've all just sat there like, oh God, I don't know the answer to this.
We've all cringed.
Yeah, I've been there. Literally,
You're doing good. Hang in there.
Yeah, everyone who's talked with him for a while is like, oh God, I remember doing this. It's
fucking terrible. It's really bad.
You do better than I ever did. That's for sure.
Yeah,
It's helpful. It's helpful every time. Like, it's always helpful, but it's always like, oh God, I don't know.
Liz, you did great, honestly, and yeah, you definitely did better than some of these characters.
Hey.
I
know you did better than I did the first time Tom went through that with me. I was just like, I don't know about that one either. It was just like 5 minutes of me being like,
man, mine was so bad I can't even remember them. I blacked it out.
I blacked out.
Who would like to be the kind of younger version of Ian Barnard right now in this scenario? And I'll be Liz.
I can do it.
Whoever.
Oh, hold on. I saw Tamara and was that Rachel?
I think it was Paul.
Oh, Paul. Okay.
Let Paul do it. It looks super cool.
Just because it's in my mind and because I'm really sleepy, instead of going with like you and your kids' book illustration stuff, shall we go with like you're doing a fusion of like lettering and illustration? But the same principle would apply for your work.
Yeah, yes.
I'm just going to give Liz a hard time and take it easy on myself. Okay, so I'm Liz. You are young Ian. And
hi.
Hi. I'm going to call you Little Ian for the duration.
Little Ian. It's my rap name.
Yeah. Okay, so no, Ian, I'd love to chat to you because I'm a huge fan of your work. And I've been following it for a while, and it seems like you're really, you're starting to pick up some traction. It's starting to do well for you. But from what I can see, like, how is it at the minute in the lettering illustration landscape on Instagram? Like, what are you feeling right now?
What am I feeling? I feel like I'm doing some good work, but I'm just not attracting as many new people or as much attention as I'd like to attract.
Okay, cool. So how do you feel it? Because there's a lot of people doing lettering and so I guess I feel like I'm getting lumped in with everybody. Yeah, I've totally seen that, to be honest. So the last few years especially, it's just exploded. Like everyone's a hand letterer, right? Everyone in their mind is doing hand lettering and illustration. And I think especially with stuff like Skillshare, it's fantastic, I love the lettering community expanding. I'm sure you do as well. But because people are learning it quicker and quicker, all these amazing tools at their disposal, not only is it busy, but actually there's a lot of pretty decent people out there. Are you finding that? It's like, maybe you've gone from having 1,000 competing people and peers to what feels like millions, and you almost feel like a small fish in like a giant ocean of noise. Is that how you feel? Yeah,
I mean, I see it in like all the people I follow. There's just so many of them, and I mean, even when I think about the people I follow, I don't necessarily engage with everything I see because it's just like it's the same sort of just scrolling through. So definitely. Why don't you engage? Just because? Yeah. Like it's all good stuff, but it's stuff I've seen before, I guess. Okay, so what would make that work different? Like, let's try and brainstorm how to help you here. Like, what would make you stop on your own work or someone else's rather than just scrolling past it? Yeah, well, I've been experimenting with this vegetable stuff. That might make me. That sounds awesome. Yeah. But I mean, I think I just seen something different. Like, the things that have stopped me when I've seen something that just caught my eye as something unexpected, different to what everyone else is doing. Maybe a little bit of animation.
Oh my. Well, that's so funny that you mentioned animation, because I keep noticing myself like a lot recently. I've been seeing a few people kind of do animation and animate their letters and their illustrations, and my gut was really telling me that that was something more interesting, and it did stand out from the crowd when everything's so busy. But I didn't want to just go by my gut, so I actually went and did some research on this. And after digging around, it seems that video and animated GIFs and things of that nature, they're actually performing 75% better than still images, which makes sense because looking at the figures as well, way less people are doing that. They're much more rare. And so in a world, I guess, where everyone's just pumping out similar work right now of the similar quality, it seems like animation is maybe, a great way to stand out from the crowd.
And I guess the hard thing is I've learned lettering, but I don't really like I don't have time to go and learn a big animation course. And
yeah,
so I guess,
well, I love that because I'm the same. Like I've actually started dabbling in this myself recently, but I'm definitely not an animator. Like I don't work for Pixar, to be honest. Like I find it intriguing. I'd love to integrate it into my work, and that's what I've done. But I didn't want to go and learn After Effects. I didn't want to go and cash out all this money on fancy software and learn a bunch of new software and have all those extra overheads and time picking it up. Is that kind of where your head's at? Yeah.
Like something. If I'm going to do something with animation, it's got to be. It's not going to take. I've got to be able to do it, I guess, fairly quickly. And it's not going to take me all week just to do an animation because I haven't got that sort of time to do that regularly.
Awesome. And you can kind of see where this is going. I'm looking at time, so I don't want to avoid like the final sale, but essentially,
I was waiting. I had a big line ready. I was going to go, shut up and take my money.
Okay. Well, like I'm a huge fan of like kind of repeating back what people have given you, and quite a key thing is to try and let them lead it. So again, for the sake of time, it was like kind of going, but I've had some of these conversations where it can go for like 30, 45 minutes, and that's completely fine. So if Paul's leading the conversation, he opened up all kinds of stuff there. So he actually started saying he's got a pain point. He's not attracting enough clients. And he feels like a big reason for that is it's very crowded in his space. So he's getting lumped in with everyone else. And then I used my context of the industry to be like, well, maybe it's the fact that everyone's now doing this, but also because of Skillshare and stuff like that, everyone's getting pretty darn good at it very quickly. So it's very noisy, so we can kind of banter about that and relate about that. And then I can feed his own words back to him and be like, and Paul, you were saying, right, how when you're scrolling through, everything just feels forgettable. And that's like our worst fear as creatives, right? I don't want my work to be forgettable. I want it to cut through that noise. And looking at all the stats and the research I've done, like it shows that video and animation is a great way to do that. And then you actually raised the objection of like, but I don't want to go and learn animation. It's like, awesome, you don't have to. Like, yeah, that would suck. You don't want to go spend all this money on like After Effects and all the time there. That's really complex. You're a designer, you're an illustrator and a letterer, not an animator currently. But what if you could get all the benefits of animation without all those costs? What if you could do it natively, like in the platform you already use, which is Procreate, right? That would be awesome. And then you kind of go down like the value pricing thing, which is similar. Well, that was like the last workshop I just did before this. And then you can take it down the road of like, and you said you're not attracting enough clients. Like, what if you could get this many more eyeballs on your work? And what if that increased your client base by like 50%? And how much would that be worth to you as a business? Oh, it'd be worth that much. Okay, well then it seems a fair price to pay X for something that would help get you there by making your work stand out. That's in a way that's statistically proven. Great. Well, if you're saying it would bring you in like 20K more work in order to cut through the noise and stand out, then surely it'd be worth spending like 2K on something to let you do that. Well, good news. Like my Skillshare course is $15 because it teaches you how to do exactly that in 1 hour flat, and it's super simple. It's in all the tools you already use, and you can get it down unbelievably quickly. But that's basically a guaranteed way to just make your work have that extra chance to stand out from everyone else's in a busy feed and actually make people stop and take notice and subsequently hire you. So go buy the course. Isn't that the deal of a lifetime? And doesn't that perfectly map to every need and problem that you've just told me? So obviously I'm kind of being about as subtle as a sledgehammer right now, but the directness is more or less like what's needed. You don't want to like and and like you want to be excited. Like the whole idea of sales is, and this is a very extreme example, it's like if someone had cancer and you've got the cure for cancer, it's like, this is what you need. You shouldn't feel embarrassed about that. Like, you know, it should very much be like, oh my God, you've got like this, you've got this problem, you've got this issue, like, let me help you with this.
Tom, I have a question with all of this. I think what I guess the thing can make something less sleazy is, and you mentioned it in the little role play we did, that you had been following me for a little while, and like where I see often on Instagram, like, you know, someone will be like, oh, fantastic work. You know, you should check out my course, blah, blah, blah. Or whereas like, I'm like, who the heck are you? And I know that you're, where I think if you're interacting with people and then you let, you know, as you get to know them, and then you go, oh, I've started this course, or even, like, I think that makes it not sleazy when
100%. So I'm not saying like slide into someone's DMs and have that dialogue. But the point of that dialogue was to identify, like, Liz, you were talking quite a lot about like, and it's got this many modules, and I've got this background, and here's some of the details of the course. Like, it really, people don't care about that much beyond like what it can do for them and the value it's going to bring them. And so that's what needs to be then put into your copy, for example, on your Skillshare page. Like that could be tweaked, where it's like, you know, a user can tired of feeling like these ways, and here's your current pain point. Well, this course is going to fix it through dun dun dun. It's going to teach you it in the platform you already use, so you won't have to worry about any of the other stuff or learning complex animation. It's been proven that helps cut through the noise, and here's the stats to back that up. So this course will quite literally help you stand out. And obviously you can see the benefit of, like, if your work stands out, it's going to reach more people with the algorithm and give you better chance with clients and so on. Like, that's quite a clear value proposition. And then you can weave that into Instagram stories that shout about this, and do my approach of like everyone watching, who hopefully you've got an audience of ideal people for this. Maybe everyone who watches your stories will then go through that narrative of the dialogue we just had, because you weave that into content. And then the poll of like, does this sound good to you? Like, yes, it does. Okay, now let's DM and have a conversation, because you've validated the same way you guys did with this group. And then you can do it in all kinds of ways, right? You can do it in the content that you put out. So you could actually maybe approach people who aren't doing this and say, hey, I would love to like animate one of your pieces. And if I could then share that, or you could share the animated version, I think it's going to help you, because I think it's going to get more engagement. And you could do that with a few people, and then you could post that as content on your profile and say, hey, look, when they were posting this kind of static work, on average it got this much engagement. I helped them with the tools in my course produce this piece for them for free, and we posted it and they got 30% more engagement. Isn't that awesome? And that could be like all your content was for a little while, just proving it over and over and over again.
I want to upvote that one. That worked out really well for me.
I love that. And so, you don't like, you can put out all that stuff, and then you do all the stuff I talk about regularly, where it's like, go to their profiles and just bring them value, build relationships, and don't be a douchebag. You don't want to be like cold approaching these people and be like, go buy my course. But you can put out content around that. You can actually get your own sales page articulated in a better way. You can get to a point where some of these conversations naturally start as people inquire on the back of your content, and suddenly you actually know what to say, because you're like, I really understand like what your intent is in buying something like this. I understand your current problems and pain points, and like you have your elevator pitch down in terms of like, oh great, you're interested. Well, like, I'm damn confident, like this is what it can do for you. Which you should feel confident, because it's really hard to sell if you're like actually not sure if it's going to really help them or not. But if, for example, you did the content strategy that I just said, and you're like, if anything, I feel like you're ripping me off paying this much for it, because I've just done this for 50 people, and every single one of them is getting their engagement going through the roof. because of exactly what I teach in this course. So I know if you buy this, like, it's going to pay for itself and then some. Like, that's just a fact. Suddenly you get way more confident in being able to actually say that. Like, I've tried to sell stuff in the past where I'm kind of lukewarm or unsure on it, and it's really awkward if you don't believe in it. But if you're like hands down, like, I just know this is good stuff, I don't feel awkward marketing Patreon. Like, I'm charging people $500 an hour before for consultancy. So to get one-on-one time and chat to you guys, and it's $1 a month, I don't feel awkward selling that. Like, literally have people DMing me being like, you should make this more. And I'm like, no, that's not really my point right now. That makes selling easy because it's value. Does that help, Liz?
Absolutely. It absolutely helps. So it's just about my approach, your approach for it. Even if you have, like, I feel like I have a good idea, like, I don't want to be sleepy, but I just didn't know how to not be.
Yeah, so empathize, understand them, understand the value you're going to give them, and that's it, right? Just it's all a value game. But I hope that helps. It's a lot of this mindset, but it's then the nuts and bolts of the content strategy and the sales pages, and then it's just the general outreach of, like, where are your ideal customers, i.e. all the illustrators out there, presumably, and probably letterers, using Procreate, posting static work, and perhaps feeling a bit disenfranchised, which is going to be all of them with the engagement. So it's a big market. It's a great idea. It's a very common pain point in this industry. This is a great hack to solve it. It's super affordable. I would just go and, like, have fantastic conversations with every illustrator and letterer you can who uses Procreate. But then I do the pool approach of, like, your entire profile being like the top of your sales funnel, so no one can be under any illusions of what it is you're selling when they hit your profile and the benefits that are within that.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Liz, and thank you, Lo Ian. What's up? Yeah, and it's a great course idea. So first of all, that would have been really awkward if it was like a terrible product. But I have seen this course before that you've done, and I think it's a really solid concept. Take my money, right? There genuinely might be people here. Like, in fact, I know there is. There's people that post illustration all the time. Like, Paul, how much would you pay for something to, increase your engagement by 40%?
Yeah, I think it's great, and, like, I think it's something that idea of using animation is something that I actually do need to investigate more. So, I am your ideal client in that way.
Cool. And oh, sorry, go ahead. Can anyone hear Liz? No, sorry, Liz, you might have to unmute.
Paul, I'll take one of your pieces and animate it for you if you like. I love your work.
Yeah, do it.
Do the Marshmallow Man. Do the Marshmallow
Man. Seriously, like, pick a piece. I'll give you the Photoshop files. You can have, like, go for it.
Great. And so, Paul, you get a piece of content which hopefully is going to perform better than the normal bits of content and look great, and it's going to appeal to your market because it's like kind of making fun kid stuff, which is going to be visually engaging, like kids and people in that industry. And then Liz, you get a great piece of content for your profile, where you can hopefully have that as a case study that proves your concept. And you don't just put it on your page, on your main profile, you weave it through your stories as well, the whole narrative of this interaction with Paul. And then Paul's so grateful he goes and buys it across.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go. Sold. Take my money.
You sound like you're down a long hallway now.
I know, this room's ridiculous. It's just a white box of despair. And do you want to see the art? The artwork in here is really, really something.
Very modern. Very
It's
modern.
a real, like, homely feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a modern edge. Very nice.
Right, so 16-year-old Fred Brown, youngest member of the tribe.
All right, so I had my question written down from the start. So I have...
Fred, I think your mic's coming in a little hot. You might need to turn down your sound a bit or something. It's like clipping.
How about now?
No, it's still pretty bad. Have you got headphones that have a mic built in or anything like that? If don't worry if not, I can understand you. It's just weird audio.
Give me a second, all right? I'll be right back. You can skip me for now.
Okay. When you speak quieter, it's okay. You could whisper it to us.
All right. So I have a problem with building my confidence, especially when it comes to presenting my work through social media. That's why I am currently at 0 posts on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you had any tips on building confidence, not only to post my work, but also to pitch my work in a more effective manner.
Yes, I do. And this is very pertinent because this was the entire end section of my workshop yesterday. So it's basically confidence lies the other side of fear. And I've talked about this a few times recently because it's so, so true. And at the end of my talk, I gave a few examples of this. So there have been so many things in life that scare me. And one of the examples was playing music in front of anyone, like the public. And so I was in a band with my friend, and the first gig we did was to a tiny pub, which was like half full, had about 20 people in it, and 17 of those people were our close friends who were smiling and supportive. So it wasn't exactly like the most intimidating crowd, but I was so nervous that my hand would shake so much that I kept hitting the wrong note, and I just couldn't play properly at all. And it was a complete mess. But the second gig, it got slightly easier. And it was helped by the fact that at the start of all the early gigs, I would have about 5 beers because without that, I couldn't play at all because I was so nervous. So we would keep playing and keep playing. And eventually it got to the point where we were doing like 3 gigs a week. And then we ended up like, it was nothing huge, but we did some outdoor gig to about 300 people. And by that point, I was actually fine because we'd done so many that I'd incrementally got more comfortable. But originally, even 20, I was having like a panic attack. The thought of 300, I think I would have just died on the spot. But it was fine. And there's been so many examples of that. So to your example of posting on social media, are you talking about literally posting your work? So not even like a selfie or anything, literally just a JPEG of your work. Is that too?
I use stories all the time because it will delete, obviously, but permanently putting a post up there is just really nerve-wracking.
Okay, so I'm going to break that down in a second as to why it's nerve-wracking. But again, it's just doing the uncomfortable. So I felt the same way about doing a video talking to my phone. It was really terrifying. Have you seen my content where I've talked about this?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I've talked about it a few times, very honestly, but what happened was I sat on my bed and I held my phone up and I was like, oh my God, what are people going to think? I'm like, people from school who I haven't seen in years, they're going to sit and they're going to laugh in my face.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous filming myself. And maybe my team at work, they're going to see it and they're going to respect me less. Think that it's really unprofessional. Maybe my friends are going to see it and they're going to laugh at me. Strangers are going to see it and they're going to judge me. I just had all of these like swirling, horrible, negative thoughts. And so what happened was it took me a full hour to film a 30-second video, which included quite literally 100 takes where I would film it. I start talking about, oh my God, that's terrible. Delete. Oh God, I can't use that. Delete. So I sat there for a full hour. And by the time I did it, I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm just going to hit publish on this thing because I can't sit in this room any longer. So I hit publish, but I felt like I'd run the London Marathon or something because I was like mentally and physically exhausted. I was like red in the face, I was really sweaty, shaky and nervous and felt like sick to my stomach. And looking back now, that sounds like the most ridiculous thing in the world, but it's how I felt at the time. But then I put it out, and guess what? None of that weird stuff that I was panicking about happened. If anything, no one really cared. It got about 3 comments of people being like, cheers, nice video. No one laughed. Like, no one DM'd me being like, you idiot, what were you thinking? How dare you share your face on social media? It's disgraceful. So I was like, okay, and I did it again. And the next time it took like 20 minutes maybe. It was still pretty long. Still didn't get it first day, but I kept going. Next time it took maybe 15 minutes. And then after I'd done a bunch of them, I started just doing the first take. I was like, well, it's not perfect, but I'm just going to hit send. And then it got a bit easier and a bit easier. And now I'll regularly walk down the street because I often do video responses for you guys and other people, DMs. And I'll be walking down a busy street, like talking to my phone, giving someone a video response. And I'm getting weird looks off of strangers. And before that would have given me anxiety. But now I'm just like, I just don't care because it became comfortable. And so then the final example I gave in the workshop was public speaking. Terrifying. Like the last time I did it, I was in the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. I don't know if any of you guys know that backstory, but basically it was like a national competition for entrepreneurs under 22 or something like that. And so I signed up for that, and I got down to like one of the more final selections, and then I went through some processes of like pitching it to investors, and I'm generally fine one-on-one or talking back and forth with people like this. But for me, it's when it's no longer a dialogue and it's just silent, eyes boring into my soul. Something about that just sets me on edge. So I made it through to the final 10 out of the competition, and part of that was we had to stand in front of this big audience and deliver our pitch. And it was so bad that I was just like sweating and shaking. So I was holding up a sheet of paper and it was like shaking like that, and everyone could see, just this like scared little kid. And I completely messed up my timings. So they cut me off and I got about 40% through my pitch. And obviously I was just out, like I was out of the competition and I completely flubbed it. And so that has been my feeling towards public speaking. But because I keep repeating this methodology of doing what scares me, and then eventually it becomes non-scary, right? And not just that, but you grow in confidence so much. So the fact I can now do the selfie videos and could do the band thing, I felt just like I'd grown as a person, and it becomes really addictive. It's such a good feeling. You're like, I couldn't do that before, now I could do it and own it and feel genuinely confident. Like it really, really, it's like a drug for your confidence. And so because of that, I've decided to make public speaking a cornerstone of my entire future career, because that's the thing that scares me most. So I'm like, well, let's keep following the stuff that scares me most, because that tends to lead to the biggest amount of personal development happening and the biggest growth in confidence. So now I'm like, well, I need to just go and do 100 public speeches until that no longer scares me too. And that's what yesterday was. And I told this whole story to everyone, and they were like, shit, I had no idea, like the whole time that you felt that way, like you didn't actually seem that nervous, and you know, it was fine. And they're like, I can't believe that was your first one, and like, you were so terrified. But I felt it was so important to share that story with them. So what are your thoughts on that, Fred? And does that answer your question in a roundabout way?
Yeah, definitely. That answers my question. Thanks a lot.
So what are you going to do next? That's the first baby step.
Start posting, really, hopefully.
Start posting.
But, yeah, but I think I need to do some more in-person work before I actually go to social media, in a sense, because I think like taking part in calls like this boosts my confidence overall in general. So like first call was I barely talked in chat even, and I didn't use the camera obviously because my age, and I know that sometimes can shock people in a negative ways sometimes. But
like no offense to everyone else, like instantly when you said your age, I'm like, I want you to like succeed more than everyone else in this community now, because I think it's so cool that you're doing this at 16. So yeah. I love that already. Perfect case, right? You're here. Like, I don't know if you're nervous right now. You don't really seem it. You just seem chilled, right? Your face on camera, yeah. You're chatting to everyone. You're 16 years old. I wouldn't have known what the hell I was doing at your age. And you're like holding your own in this cool group of people who presumably have more experience than you do. So good for you. You've taken quite a big step there. You've gone from like not being on the call to being on it, but being faceless, to now chatting with us. Where are you going to be in like 10 calls time?
Yeah, hopefully talking as much as you do.
Good luck.
Yeah.
No, you're going to smash it, Fred. So, can you hold your phone up? Have you got a piece on your phone that you've been contemplating sharing that we could see on the screen? That would be a baby step, just sharing it with us.
Do I have anything?
I know you have something. Don't pretend that you don't. You just got to show us. You've got to hold it up.
Well, I have pictures of books I've recently ordered, graphic design related, which I could talk about. Potentially Steal Like an Artist, Effect Perfection.
Okay.
How to by Michael.
Okay, so what's stopping you just posting that? Like, that would take you 2 seconds right now to post that as an Instagram.
Yeah. The thing stopping me is because I'm also trying to focus my feed because more on potential clients than other designers. Which
but you don't have a feed yet.
I know. I know. But yeah, that's probably my main struggle. So finding out my niche in a sense, and who my feed is going to be for.
Okay.
And
so
also,
you're not sharing anything because, like, basically, you're not going to reach the stage of like all the stuff we're talking about with Paul, for example. Of like, let's pivot your content and like get laser focused to really attract clients and have that top of the funnel awareness. Like, that's down the line. You're not going to be able to do all of that stuff if you're scared to post a single picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's down the railroad a little way. So what I would encourage you to do right now is get one of those book images that you have, and like right this second on this call, post it. And just say a caption like, this book is like unbelievable, or I'm loving this book right now, or like currently reading. Like, it doesn't have to be a long form essay about that book. Just post it.
All right. Okay. I'll have a go.
Can you do that right now?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, man.
It's all right. And while you're posting that, can you shout out what's your Instagram handle?
Yeah. Fred Brown Designs. I'll put the link in again.
Cool. Thanks. Cool. Fred Brown Designs.
Who are all these followers with no posts?
I know. They're all. That's also one thing I'm really nervous about because these are my school friends, and my school friends tend to be a bit more immature than I am, and I feel like I've matured way faster than some of them in a sense. So I'm also a bit nervous about that, to see their reactions against it.
Why?
And yeah.
You can't have 730 school friends. I mean, you're a likable guy, Fred, but that's extreme.
Yeah, I've done a fair bit of travel, so.
Okay, but where have they come from, honestly? Like, is it just that you're like commenting a lot? Because I've seen you be quite active, on other stuff and networking and getting to know people. Is it just that a lot of those people have followed you, even though you've got
that as well? But like initially when I started my account, I was at about 200 followers, and then I switched my personal account that was meant for my personal life and swapped it to my design account. So all my school friends are following that, which I shouldn't.
But had you put out content before to get followers, and now you've removed the content, but so you've never put a single bit of content out?
No. On Stories, yeah, but no.
I don't think I've ever seen someone with that many followers apart from like a celebrity that has never posted anything. That's crazy. Okay, so you're about to post it now, right?
Yeah, I'll start writing my caption.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be long, but we can circle back in a minute, if that works.
Yep. I'll get on it.
Cool. And then I'm sure everyone knows what is coming, but we're then going to blow up the comments. So if Fred's school friends want to be like, oh my God, you read, you loser, then it's just going to be a flood of positivity.
But
Comes first.
Tom, one more question about this. So, I'm doing a live stream with, I don't know if you know him, Logo Books, tomorrow.
I love this. Sorry, so you've never posted a single Instagram post, but you're like live streaming with these established people.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, because
You're a man of contradictions, right?
So, anyways, I'm doing this live with him, and I don't like they'll see that my school, like they'll see that I'm live with him, so my school friends will join, and I'm kind of nervous about that.
Okay,
And
so
then,
you will be able to tell who are the true friends and who aren't. And I know it's very scary, especially at school age, because school can feel like no points, right? Because you're forced to be around these people. But think of it as a filter. Hopefully what will happen is all of your friends are good friends, but if some of them are shitty friends, you'd rather know that. And so this might be a litmus test for that. So I've done stuff like this, and I will get like moments of like light-hearted teasing, especially in the early days where it was more novel. And yeah, people would like quote little captions of mine, or like jokingly call me like an influencer, like for taking the piss. And that was fine, because I know they love me, and in the bigger sense, they're always so supportive of all my work and stuff. And I can take the piss out of myself. We all take the piss out of each other. That's fine. If someone's like legitimately being a dickhead to you and like really trying to regularly tear you down, then maybe that's not the kind of friend that you want. You could at least have the conversation and be like, look, I know you're probably joking, but like, this is something I really want to pursue. It's important to me. I don't care if you stop giving me shit for it.
Definitely.
And then if they still don't, and they're just like, you fucking idiot on every post, then you don't want those people.
Yeah, no, totally. Thank you.
And it will weed out. I bet you have some friends who are like, good for you. This is really cool. I support you. And they leave positive comments. Like my best friend, like literally is like more supportive than my parents, it feels like at times. Like he was messaging me after the workshop, how'd it go? Like, I just saw your story. It's like, they're the friends that you want.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got it though. Leave I'm going to move on. And in true form, I've given like the longest answers. I'm so bad at being concise, guys. You know this by now. So I'm going to have to speed it up, but I will still try and pack in like as much value in shorter answers. But leave it in the comments thread when you made that post, and everyone will know to go and comment.
Thank you.
All right, cool. You got it. Dave Williams also showing his face. I'm enjoying the face-to-face interaction today.
Yeah.
Hello, mate. How are you?
You hear me okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. I'd kind of a bit of a rough experience this morning. I tried going out and introducing myself to some more businesses, and it didn't go great. So I'm just trying to figure out what.
Were they like rude and abusive, or they were like, sorry, it's just not for us?
No, yeah, it was just sorry, it was not for us. And a lot of the kind of, I went down a local high street. A lot of places are kind of shut, and maybe they don't open every day or something. And a lot of them are kind of bigger chains. So I decided it wasn't worth trying those. Obviously, they're already going to have people who do that stuff.
Potentially fair assumption.
Yeah, trying to hit the smaller ones, but I'll need to maybe try a different strategy, I guess.
Okay, so did they all just say don't really need it, or did you get a variety of objections?
Yeah, it was just not at the minute, or we've not got any budget for that now, kind of thing.
Okay, so first of all, I don't see, like, I'm sure it feels like it right now, I don't see that as a bad day. I see that as a brave day. That's actually like really impressive, because I've been there. It's the most terrifying thing in the world. To be honest, even if I went and did that today, I'd probably feel pretty scared. So realized that you could have been the guy just to like sit in your bedroom and never leave those four walls and be a hermit, but you massively pushed outside your comfort zone and, you know, got out of the house and gone and taken action and done it. So I respect the hell out of that. I'm sure, like, I can see a lot of people nodding right now and smiling. So like everyone on the call feels the same as me, I think. And you should feel proud of yourself. It's not about the result. It's not like whether you got a client or not. This is the equivalent of like if you know, if we're approaching like a guy or a girl that we find attractive, right? That's also terrifying most of the time. But you don't want to be the person that never goes and does it and just stands in the shadows, like looking over, being like, oh God, wouldn't that be nice? But I feel too scared. So in the same way, like, you know, you're going to get rejections, you're going to get shut down. We all do, right? But it's so important to actually go and do it, because what's the alternative? Sitting there and never doing it and just being alone for your whole life? Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find the perfect romance, right, from a pitching business perspective either. Every single time, it just doesn't happen. It's a numbers game. But you've just taken the first quite big step in the right direction. And so now, yes, have a little moment if you need to kind of dwell and feel down about that, but like try and pull yourself out of that and think, what can I do to move the needle to make this easier next time? So it's like, okay, maybe after this call, you go and do all the research you can on pitching. And you think, okay, well, one element of this is like the people I'm approaching, right? Am I approaching the right people? Do they have a need for my services? Could I maybe try some different types of people? But equally, I bet a lot of it is down to your pitch, because I'd imagine it might not have been like the most like bombastically confident thing, because mine weren't in the early days, because I was terrified. So you probably weren't going in there like the Wolf of Wall Street, like closing deals left, right, and center, I'm guessing.
No. I mean, yeah, I totally wasn't ready at all. I didn't really.
But I love that. I'm literally so pleased for you. You weren't ready at all, but you went and did it anyway. Like, good for you, man. So, you know,
I signed myself up for about half an hour first.
Yeah.
I sat in the car, you know, in the street, and I was like, right, okay, I'm ready now. Okay, right, I'll get out of the car. I'll start down. Yeah.
Like, weirdly, I know you didn't get the business. I promise you will be a more confident man now that you've done that, as opposed to if you hadn't. If you jumped on this call and one of us was like, oh yeah, we talked about like the pitching, how'd that go? And you're like, I sat in my car and then I drove back home and didn't do it.
You know, that was a kind of motivation that I was gonna, because I mentioned it in the Facebook group that I was gonna do it. So I thought, right, well, I can't just go back home and not do it. I've got to at least do some. So.
Yeah. So one thing I would do, I would research pitching. So the same way, like, I just had this experience with public speaking, right? I didn't go in completely cold. I hit up everyone I know. Scotty Russell sent me this amazing guide on how to do the public speech. My initial version, I was going to open it by saying, guys, this is my biggest fear. I'm so nervous. I open up this guide and it's like, step 1, don't tell them you're nervous at the start. I was like, okay, good. And I told them that in the workshop at the end. I was like, I read this guide that said not to do this. So instead of doing it at the start, I'm doing it at the end, because I still want to tell you. But the whole point is I went and prepped. And so it would have gone probably a lot worse if I hadn't have done that and I hadn't educated myself and tried to improve that particular skill set. But I understood how to structure it better and give it a better outline and certain things I should be doing with body language. I'm not exactly Tony Robbins yet, but I'm better than I would have been. So now you will have gained a little bit of confidence from doing this, so you'll be slightly better next time. But imagine if on top of that you layer doing some in-depth reading for a week or so about actually pitch strategy and how to get better and better and better with that. And so you're going to come armed with that little arsenal, with those tools at your disposal next time. So you'll be that much more confident again. And then when you do it the next time, you'll be more confident again. And then you're going to start paying attention, maybe trying to dig a little bit deeper. So if they're like, oh no, it's not for me, you're like, okay, well, you know, definitely don't want to be pushy, but I presume like you guys are probably looking for more business, looking to get noticed in the high street and that kind of thing. So do you feel that maybe, you know, a refreshed brand could help with that? Or even better, like actually go and look at their website and be like, hey, like I checked out your website. Like it looks pretty solid, but equally, given my experience, I could see a lot of holes in it. And I think there's a lot of ways where you are losing potential business, right? I see all kinds of things. Like I got a list of 18 things, but here's one big glaring one. Have you got 5 minutes just to talk about that? I'd love to give you some value up front because I'm really passionate about what I do. So I actually noticed when I got on your website, your contact form is pretty broken and unusable. So if that's your main point of people getting in touch and hiring you to do whatever you do as a business, right now it seems like it's really not working that well. So I don't know if you have a web guy right now. Do you have a web guy or girl that looks after this stuff for you? Because if you do, they might want to fix that. And if you don't, like, I genuinely really love to help. And like I said, I've got this big list of other stuff. I think we could get your website performing way, way better, and really bringing you in some more business. I'm guessing that wasn't quite the conversations that happened though.
No.
Okay,
yeah.
But that's one example, right? Like you've gone and actually done the research and looked through their stuff. So it's not just going in quite as cold with like, hey, I want to do work for you guys, and they're like, nah, not for me. Like if you go in and it's like, hey, look, I really like the look of your business. Like I walk past all the time, and I was on your website the other day because I was interested in it, and I did notice all these issues because this is what I do for a living. So I just thought I'd pop in and say hi and introduce myself. I'm happy to share a couple of things right now that I think are really hurting your business, but in general, if you've got 5 minutes to chat, I'd love to chat about that. But in general, I truly would love to help your business in this way and work with you. Like, what do you say?
Yeah. I did have one idea as I was driving around, but I don't know if you've seen Mark from Blue Deer has been sending out his sticker albums.
Mm-hmm.
Seen those, yeah. So I kind of figured if I could maybe target the ones that might be, might get somewhere with.
Yeah.
Maybe not a sticker album, not doing exactly the same idea, but
yeah,
maybe make something that's kind of based around what their business is and send it out with a letter.
Yeah, I think it can work, but equally there is there's a lot of people doing that stuff, and it's very like broad.
Yeah,
it's sending out hundreds of things that quite often go in the bin, and it's quite old school marketing. It doesn't always convert that well. So you can do it, but I feel like you're going to gain more confidence from the direct approach.
Yeah.
And probably learn a lot more about yourself and your skills, and you're going to get real objections in real time where you can adjust your services and your pitch based on that. And I just think it will convert a lot better, because if you think, oh no, how many people did he talk to?
I think now. Probably about 15.
Oh wow, good for you. Bloody hell. Smashed it. I love that as well. Love the persistence. Yeah, it wasn't just like 3 in
once you get over the fear of doing one, the others aren't quite so bad.
Oh, did you hear what he said, people? That's what I've been talking about.
Yeah.
The rest weren't quite so bad. Yeah. And when you go out next time, it's going to be even easier.
It's still bad, but it's not quite as bad.
Yeah, right? You'll get momentum. That's amazing. So maybe go and like refine your pitch a little bit more before you exhaust every business in the local area at the pace you're going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would seriously, I'd think about just doing that, like going a little bit deeper, actually looking at their website, actually looking at their branding, and sort of going in with a generalized pitch, going in with real context and intent, and trying to just open up a conversation and bring that upfront value.
Yeah.
Does that help? Do you feel a little bit more equipped for next time?
Yeah. I was just thinking, if I could kind of show them what I can actually do, then they might be more likely to.
So, now I'm doing these hangouts at Design Cuts where I tear through a load of websites in real time and critique them.
Yeah.
Including yours. So I've done that a lot historically over the years, but I did this when I was doing what you're doing now. I did this with the owner of a local bar, and there was a little bit of a connection, so I kind of like half knew him, but not really. And the connection went, see what Tom could do he's really good at just like pulling apart websites in real time. And I went, yeah, happy to have a look. And he brought his website up, and I just speed talked at him for 5 minutes and pointed out everything wrong with his website. And then that opened the door to doing about 3 different projects with that bar. But it's going in with actual context and like, here are some issues and I can solve them. You don't want to say your brand's load of shit, obviously, but
yeah,
again, being like, I can see some things that could be improved and help your business is fine. Hold on. I might have to, yeah, I've got Ian texting me. Yeah, because I need to join him for dinner in a little bit, and then we've got like the
Lil Ian or real Ian?
Real Ian. Yeah. It's been really nice spending more time with him. Yeah, I hope that helps, Dave. Anyway, good luck. And, I'm really proud of you there, mate. That's amazing.
I'll keep at it.
Good. You'll get there. And like, I mean, think when you come on this call and like get the first one, that's going to be such a big step. We're all going to have a big celebration for you.
Hopefully it won't be too long before we get the first one.
I'm sure it won't be at the rate you're going. Definitely not. Okay, so how many people have we got? We've got Heidi, Colleen, Rachel, Doris, Sonia, Tama, Amy. Oh, Jesus. Okay, how are we going to do this? I think, hold on, I'm going to have to put a timer on my phone. Nothing for Susie, okay. Like, that wasn't a Jesus, like I don't want to help. This is just I want to help in the best way I can. I'm going to put a timer on my phone here. Amy didn't have a question. I feel bad now. I'm not trying to chase people away. No, I want to get around everyone. You have to jump. Oh, okay. No one needs me. You're right, Susie. Okay.
Where's Ian? I have questions for Ian Barnard. Get the true stars. I'm just kidding.
I actually love
You're best friends with Chris
every
Doe
single
now?
week.
Invite Chris Doe in to do these? Oh my God, that would be terrifying.
Yes, and yeah, he is. He's really intense. He does the exercise that I did with Liz in all kinds of areas, but like literally will like be looking at you not blinking and won't give you a get out until it's over, and it's just like, and he said, he was like, oh, someone like give me objections, and I made up an objection and said it to him, and he started like probing me like, why? I was like, this isn't my objection. I wouldn't even say something like that. I was just giving it to you, man. And this is in front of like 150 people. And I was like, leave me alone. Dave has to go. Cool, Dave, well done. So who has a question? Can people leave in the comments if they've got a question or if they're just sitting in, just so I can divide the remaining time up? No one? No one? All right, no questions. Tons of questions. Tama. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to go through because you guys are being awfully quiet. All right, Colleen has one. Heidi? No? Okay. Normally I would like probe questions out of people even if they say no, but this might help me today. See you later, Dave. No, all right, Tama, Colleen, Rachel. Where did Rachel go? Oh no, you're there. No? Okay. Doris?
I can ask a specific one.
Okay. Hold that thought. Amy?
Yeah.
You definitely not have one? You sure? Okay. All right, if you have to go, if that's what it is. All right, bye. Bye. Shivani, I think didn't, but let me know. So hold on, we've got 3 people so far. Shivani, Susie.
Yeah, Shivani said she did. She said me-ish. Yeah, in the comments.
Yes, okay, so that's 4. Susie and Isabella, let me know in the comments.
Nothing from me.
What's that?
Nothing from me.
Okay, hello. Thank you for the amazing comments and the abuse. Isabella? Okay, maybe not. Cool, so we got 4 people then. In which case, Colleen, you're at the top of the grid for me. Take it away. And hold on, so we've got 4 people. Got that long. I'm going to go 5 minutes question, and then I have to get back to Ian for dinner. And go. You're on the clock.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Cool, thanks. Okay, so I'm stuck with structuring my time. I think I've got too many things on my plate, but my design work is taking up most of my time, and I don't have time to start my new idea. It's like a constant source of frustration. It feels like time is going too fast, and I don't have enough. And I'm just working slowly, so I don't know if it's I'm not working smart, or if it's just like, I don't know, lack of structure. Major frustration.
Okay. What design work are you doing again?
So it's mostly it's basically still magazine layouts with a couple of other stuff thrown in between. Yeah.
Okay. And is that full-time gig or side hustle?
It's full-time. I'm a full-time freelance designer.
Yeah. Okay. So full-time freelance design takes the majority of your time, and you're not having time for like marketing and all the other aspects of growing this business.
Sorry, my other idea, which was to start up the email list and to put time into that and to basically get that off the ground. Okay. So the design stuff comes to the front of the list, and everything else falls back. Okay.
Cool. I've got 3.5 minutes, and I think I have a couple of answers for you. So 2 things. One is audit your time and where it goes, and be ruthless about that. Right, I'm including the time spent, we all do it, scrolling on Instagram mindlessly and stuff like that. So it would be great to really understand the split of like, okay, this many hours a day go on designing, this many go on kind of wasting time on social media, this many go on like commenting on people's stuff and networking and that kind of stuff. And then we all have limited time, right? We all have exactly the same number of hours in the day, so it's not that you're any more or less capable than any of us here, including me. Like, with the right focus and so on, we can all get there. But I always say there's like endless things we could do that we know guaranteed will help our business. I could sit right now and write a list of 5,000 things, small, medium, and large. All of them would help move the needle forward a little bit. So the challenge is not doing everything, because that's impossible. The challenge is picking which things you should be doing and prioritizing them and managing your time effectively. So first of all, realize you can't do it all. So don't beat yourself up just for not doing it all. That being said, if you're just doing design work and your goal is to grow, then you need to audit yourself and be like, okay, I need to get some more growth related activities like the newsletter, among other things, into my day. And that's so important, because if you don't change something, then the outcome's not going to change. And so again, there's a few ways to do that. I would argue that if you ruthlessly audited your time, you probably could work smarter and you could fit more into your day. And it's impossible to be like constantly 110 miles an hour, but I publicly documented a couple of things for the sake of speed. So I built my entire website and email list in 1 hour and 8 minutes. Do you remember that post? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. So that was like literally like start to finish, like signing up for Squarespace, never used it, figured out how to use it, signed up for MailChimp, figured out how to link that to Squarespace, designed a shitty looking logo, and put the whole thing up. And I did it for the sake of like, I wanted to start a newsletter and a website, but I kept putting it off on the to-do list. But I equally did it so I could prove speed to you guys and be like, you don't need to spend weeks and weeks and weeks on every task. And then same thing with Patreon. Like, I was deliberating about that. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to sign up and figure this out right now. And that was like between 1 and 2 hours as well. I think 2, but that included like signing up, recording videos on my phone, publishing them on YouTube, linking them to Patreon so much people sign up to get the videos, setting up all the Patreon profile, promoting it and doing the whole DM thing that I talked about and launching it. So literally within about 2 hours, I went from having nothing to having like 50 patrons. So when you say you haven't got time, that's like quite a lot of damage in both cases that can be done in 1 to 2 hours. And I would argue we all have 1 to 2 hours. The number of like 1 to 2 hour slots that I waste every day, like literally just scrolling through bullshit on Instagram, like watching TV, whatever it might be, like you all have that amount of time. So through auditing yourself, you will, I hope, be able to identify time, like how many hours a day do you work? And I'm not about to give you the hustle culture thing of like, well, you should be working 25 hours, but generally, like how much do you work each day?
Probably 8 to 10 hours.
Okay. And are you telling me that all of those 8 to 10 hours are going on outputting client work that your clients need?
So I work from home, so it's like washing the dishes, letting the dogs out. You know, there's a lot of distractions. So if I was sitting probably in a work environment, I would be getting a lot more done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how much actual work are you doing if it's not 8 to 10 hours?
I don't know. Maybe it feels like I'm doing 8 to 10 hours. So I don't know, maybe like 7 or 6. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but yeah. I mean, auditing my time is a good idea.
Okay, so for the sake of time, ironically, because I got people in the comments telling me I need to move on, I'm going to give you some homework if you don't mind. There's a lot of apps, I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but if you Google search where they track your time, and you can, it's like a little stopwatch, you can just hit it and like label it with whatever it is. And I would love you to do that for a few days. Okay. And then on the next call, if you can hopefully attend, we can break it down and be like here's literally, you know, actually you're only working for 6.5 hours a day of real work, and that's the split of where the 6 hours are going, and does that map to your goals? And I'd imagine there will be a lot of no's within that. So then it's going to be like, let's clearly define your goals, let's reverse engineer the work that takes, and then let's restructure your day and work out how you can work a bit smarter, pack as much in as we can, with the realistic caveat that it can't be all sprints. I can't do that hour and 8-minute sprint for 10 hours a day because I'd burn out, but we can actually do it in a realistic way where it's like, that is a day. It's like being given a workout, right? Like, just go and follow this workout. If it's like, here's your day that actually maps to your goals, and I'll just try and follow that. That would kind of be the steps, but unfortunately we don't have time for that right this second, and it would be helpful for you to go and track your time so we've got the actual data on this.
Cool, I'll do that. Thank you. That's really useful.
No worries. Doris, I think you're next.
My question is, if I write an article, as I did for Peggy, is there any courtesy or standard, like can I share that somewhere else as well, or is that kind of tend to be kind of exclusive for that?
Well, can you repost the content somewhere else?
Yeah, like if can I put it on my own website? Can I, you know, offer it to other places that do similar articles? I was wondering if I can reuse it, or.
This is a really short answer, which is good. So the answer is generally no, but ask her.
Okay.
Like generally not, because of duplicate content and Google, and plus when most people get guest authors and stuff, it's under the assumption of like, you're writing this for me. Like, Rachel's done articles for us at Design Cuts. I'd be pretty pissed off if she went and gave it to like our competitors.
You can, if you put it on your own website, there's a special kind of link that you can use that will not cannibalize their results. I can send you that, Doris, but you still ask them, but there's a link that you can use to put the full text on yours, and it won't split the results in Google. It'll just be, if someone lands on your site, they can see that, but all of the search results will come up with their site. I can send it to you, but you still need to ask, but just FYI.
So I'll put it this way, and let's use Rachel as the example. So Rachel writes for us. If Rachel came to me and said, hey, I wanted to ask your permission, can I like sell or share this article on other websites? I'd be like, absolutely not. That's not how this works. If she came to me and was like, can I put this on my own website, almost like a portfolio piece with the caveat of the Google bit, so it's not penalized for duplicate content, then I'd be perfectly within the rights to be like, no, I want it exclusively on our platform. But equally, I might be like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So that's it.
So I've written this article specifically for her, but if I rewrote it sort of slightly different, so is the article hers or is the topic hers?
If in terms of copyright, it should be significantly different. If that's what your worry is, you either need to have like a different take on it. Like you can use some of the same content, but in terms of copyright, it should be significantly different. Like if you had a reader who went to both sites, they shouldn't be like, did I just read this in a different site? Like it should be significantly different in terms of copyright.
If she or you would feel uncomfortable with the duplicate article, then it's not okay. If you're like, this doesn't feel right, or she saw it and was like, what gives? This is pretty much the same piece of content. They're not okay, like Rachel says.
Because the article is really a tutorial on how to do a thing in Photoshop. So while the article I wrote is for her, the thing that you do isn't really an exclusive thing that I just sort of figured out that nobody else knows, right? So that's kind of what I'm wondering, like, how would I be able to repurpose that idea somewhere else without kind of stepping on her toes because I've written this article for her?
What I would do if I were you, like guest blogging is absolutely a viable strategy. But if you felt comfortable, I would try and appear on like live teaching things on other platforms, and then you actually can repurpose the same content potentially over and over. Because if you become known as the lady who teaches X, and then you jump on stuff like Creative Live, but perhaps to get started, smaller versions of that. It's like I went on Design Recharge with Diane Gibbs and kind of did some live teaching of marketing stuff. But equally, there's plenty of places where you can jump on and be like the Design Cuts weekly hangouts, right? We have guests on who screen share and teach something. Mm-hmm. We're never going to be pissed off if they taught that thing before, because that's the point. We have people on and they're like, this is my area of expertise. And so they just go around different platforms, resharing that expertise to get distribution, i.e. to get in front of bigger other audiences, to bring awareness back to them. So that's a way of doing that, whereas that's not so allowed or accepted in like the article guest blogging world.
Okay, so I can essentially talk about the same material, but live versus written, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like it's less taboo to share, to repeat if you're doing it live versus if it's written.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it seems to be.
Not that I have aspirations of all of a sudden becoming like this big guest blogger everywhere, but I wrote this article and I just thought, well, I wonder if I can...
It's awareness. It's
repurpose that somehow.
You should try to be everywhere.
In terms of, I mean, again, if you don't want to like maintain your relationship with that person, so double check. But in terms of like a different medium, like video instead of written, that's fair game in terms of like whether or not you are on like a legal or ethical. Like you might run into some people who are like, well, I don't want you to repurpose it in any way, shape, or form. But a different medium is usually fair game. Like, especially if it's your content. Like the stuff that I write for Design Cuts is that it's their content anyway. Like I'm just repurposing it for them. So I wouldn't walk around being like, this is my content. But for you, it's stuff that you came up with. So you can certainly.
Well, yeah, but it's not even stuff I came up with. Like it's just stuff that I learned how to do in Photoshop that anybody that uses Photoshop to any great extent would know how to do.
But it's not like you took somebody's lettering class and now you're like, okay, well, I took their lettering class and that was a video. Now I'm going to write an article using all the stuff from their lettering class. Like you discovered that on your own. So a different medium's fair game. Sorry to interrupt.
No, she's right. Might need to jump to Tama, but I hope it helps.
Okay, thanks.
Tama.
Hey, what's up, man? Nice to meet everyone, by the way. I haven't been on the call the past couple of weeks, so.
Aren't they a wonderful bunch?
Yeah. It's a whole festive group of awesome people. It's awesome.
Everyone meet Tama. Tama is the nicest man in the universe, officially.
Yeah.
We're getting a badge saying that.
Okay, so what actually happened was Tama bought Tom a guitar.
No.
Not just any guitar, a Gibson Les Paul.
I bribed him. That's what it was.
Just you're Tom. Thanks for being so nice to me. Here's your dream guitar. No, I'm not the nicest person. Focused, Susie. Man, keeping it real, Susie.
I know, right?
Keeping everybody on track today.
Right. I like the kids. So I'll be quick. Mine's mostly an update, and then like there's a question that's probably long term that may be better for another time.
Mm-hmm.
So you've definitely motivated me to like kick in the pants, be busy with getting things together. So I've been working on like building my little YouTube studio at home, following all the like tips and doing a lot of research to film some videos on how to do the abstract calligraphy work. So I think it's going to come down to about 3 or 4 videos that could be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes each. I'm working on some worksheets to go along with that. Potentially, those are I'm working on them. They're almost 50 pages right now.
Wow.
Of like content and.
Yeah. Sorry, is this for a course? Did you say?
Yeah, it's for a course. Like it's for this concept we've discussed previously about how I make these abstract calligraphy pieces. That I get questions about that a lot, probably the most between that and the circle.
Mike just showed up. What up, Mike?
Hey, it's Mike. Looking like a rock star, man. So I've been working on those. I've made some progress on the Black Letter Procreate brush as well. So I'm definitely interested in some feedback on that. And then I'm going to focus on some work with the Black Letter font I'm with Dora. So the question around all of this was,
is that it?
Yeah. So the question around all of that was like, what is a good launch strategy? Because I would like to also start building my email list a little bit, right? So the thought was, well, I'll probably just put all the video content on YouTube for free because I guess that would be the most helpful to everybody. But what is it?
Get your entire premium video course and put it out for free.
Sorry, say that again?
Get your entire premium video course and put that on YouTube for free.
Well, that's part of the question, is what is a good strategy for all of this stuff? So should I do the following the give value approach, just do the 3 or 4 videos and just put them out on YouTube for free and just say, hey guys, here's how I do these abstracts, or do I try to do that as like the newsletter? The newsletter, I forgot the term that you always use for it, but
okay.
Benefit for signing up, or
the what? The lead magnet, you mean?
Yeah, lead magnet. That's the cool term.
Okay. So what are you launching? You're launching the brush set. We'll forget about the font because that's like later. It sounds like that's like the number 3 in line. So you've got the course, and you've got the brush set. The brush set's pretty easy. Launch it with us, and if it's as good as I hope it is, we'll include it in the newsletter, and hopefully we'll get some early traction and sales for you. In terms of your own platform, I don't know if you have an e-commerce platform where you could sell it. If you want a super quick one, so that you can move speedily instead of setting up like a whole e-commerce website, you could use something like Gumroad. And then you could do...
what was that name? Gumroad?
Gumroad, yeah. It's not like the best ever, but it's like simple and functional. Makes it easy to sell stuff quickly. Down the line, hopefully, I can see you with like a Shopify store, but that's a bit longer. So something like Gumroad, and then you can just do a lot of the stuff which you're familiar with from this tribe, like hype it up in your content, show multiple types of content of how you made the brushes, why they're great, give them out to people that have a decent following and would be relevant. Like Ian, for example, like he should have some context on you. Hopefully, if you're messaging him and saying, "Hey, like, would you be willing to use this in some of your lettering work and test it out?" He might say no, but he might say yes. And then putting it in your stories, doing the whole thing of like vote if you're interested, and then DMing people for that direct approach with better conversion, like all of that stuff, right? So hyping it up, but you sell anything by selling it before you're selling it. So I would start now, like right now. Like I haven't seen anything from you in terms of content of like, here's me making the brush, like here's it coming to life and being developed. You need to get people excited.
early.
And
So
you recommend that mostly in stories or actual
both.
feed content? Both? Okay.
Yeah, I would personally. So I would do all of that. The course is a much bigger question. I mentioned I'm currently working on our first course for design cuts. I do know the launch strategy, but I've been refreshing myself so that we really nail it. And just kind of, I've got like dozens of A4 pages of notes and strategies, so it's a big answer. But I will give you 2 things that would change your life. Actually, no, 1 thing that will change your life and 1 that's like a helpful podcast. That was oversold.
I'm let down now. I was going to get 2 life.
That's how you oversell. Yeah. So 1 is go and Google Amy Porterfield talking about her 3-video launch strategy with Pat Flynn on smartpassive.com. So let me type it in the chat. Porterfield 3. Hold on. Yeah. Michael likes Rachel's hair. I like Rachel's hair. All right, so go listen to that podcast, and that will start to open you up to the world of launching courses. And then go and buy that book, because that will tell you basically the best way to launch online. It's a little bit like internet marketing hype, but like it's very, very legit. It works like crazy. I've used it in the past. I used that strategy to launch design cuts. It's amazing, and it would be much easier for you and anyone else on the call just to read that book rather than me like regurgitate it all.
Okay, I think I may have found that book when you mentioned. Is that the launch strategy book? Okay, yeah, I started reading part of that way back. It's very helpful.
read the whole book. It's quite literally a blueprint.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, instead of that, like, I'd rather you read the book, put your own launch strategy together, and then propose that here, and then we can critique it.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, I haven't filmed the videos yet or anything, but I've got like the framework and outline, and I set up my little spot to try to record them.
Awesome. Nice.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, and you guys, like, when I launch this, I'm hoping it's going to be July. I'm going to document for all of you like exactly how we launch it, and hopefully have a successful launch, because it's a lot of work. We filmed 90% of the course, but now we're working on the launch strategy, getting affiliates involved, sharing it, how we're going to really launch it with a bang, explode an email list around it. The bones of the launch are you do like a 3-part video series in the run up to it launching, where you put out really valuable information that people get hyped about and share, and you can put out via ads and existing audiences and so on. So you bring a load of attention to the videos, but people put in their email to watch them. So you get them through this whole narrative. They get really bought into what it is you're teaching as part of this 3-part workshop. And so when you eventually launch, they're so invested, and you've created a very engaged, fresh email list around it, that when you email and say, hey, now it's available, this thing that you've been teasing over the course of like 10 to 14 days, that everyone's there with their wallet out ready to pay and bought into it because you've demonstrated the value of it so well.
Lauren does a version of that every time she launches.
Everyone does. Yeah. Like it's Jeff Walker's the guy that conceived it, but virtually anyone who's rocking it with courses uses it because it's like the gold standard approach. And like there's nuances and you can have fun with various aspects of it, but like that's the bones of it.
No, that's really helpful. But
so in the book, seriously, Fred, you're going to be a millionaire by the time you're 20. Go read that shit. Your league's ahead of you.
Yeah, awesome that you're starting so early.
And it's very cool. Mike, I might not be able to answer a question from you today, mate, because I'm like way over. Lovely.
Good.
Sleep well.
I just wanted to say hi.
Hi. You have to watch the replay.
We've missed tons. We've been on nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, I just, I saw the messages and I woke up and I was like, you know what I mean? So,
I miss you.
I'm still not all there, so, but thanks, man. I just want to say hi to everybody.
And it's Lies, by the way. So Mike might be half asleep, but I've met him when he's fully awake and he's pretty much the same. He's just a chill dude.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's got cool hair. Shivani, last but not least. Is she still there? Shivani? You were the final.
Hello?
Hello. Oh, I can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can now. Have you got a question?
Yes, my question was, I've created a product that I'm trying to sell, but I'm finding it difficult to get it in front of the right audience. So my question is, like, a lot of people are saying to me, go on Etsy. So would that be something to do? Because I don't know, I've had mixed opinions about it.
Okay. What are you trying to sell?
Okay, so I made some flashcards for kids. It's double-sided. So one side you've got farm animals, and on the other side you have numbers. And they also have the name of the animal and the sound that they would make. So it's all out. And it's a 2-in-1, so it's a bunting, so you can hang it up as a wall decor to start off with, and then when the child wants it, then they can play with it. But so that's what I'm trying to sell. There's two. There's zoo animals. There's zoo animals and there's farm animals. And on the zoo animals, there's numbers on the reverse.
I love it. So, first of all, have you validated this idea? Has it been based on like a particular market demand with people interested in this idea?
Yeah, so as a mother myself, the idea came because I was looking for something similar for my kids, and then when I was asking around, I went to a lot of play groups and toddler groups and everything like that, and I was asking around if they were aware of Edney, and they all said no, and they were looking for the same thing. So, but because of funding cuts and everything, those groups no longer exist that I can go back to and say, oh, look, there is such a product now. So that this is where I'm kind of stuck to get it out there now.
Okay, have you had conversations with like other parents and said, hey, would you be interested in something like this?
So other parents that I know now, it would be more for the babies and quite like from 0 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So all the ones that I know have kids that are older.
Okay. Cool.
And I also have a problem of trying to sell my own products. I can talk for someone else's and pick them up, but I wouldn't be able to do that for myself. Like there was a local fair that I actually put up a stall, and I just froze. I really could not talk about my own products, and my husband had to do all the talking.
Why
but I know my products. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really shy and I'm just really quiet as a person. But I know my products and I know they're good. I mean, it's black. Oh, the black and white is all because of the high contrasting images for kids and development and all that. So I know it's a good product, and I know it's beneficial as well to kids. I mean, my kids, because I tested it on them when they were growing, and they loved them, and even still, my youngest is turning 4 and he still plays with them and learns from them and reads them. So it is good. I just don't know how to get it out there.
I think you do know.
But other than talking to people.
It's a start. but not just any people, right?
I love that. Like, you mean other than actually selling it to people? Is there another way to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so which is why I'm in the process of working on my website, but which is the other option that people recommended was Etsy. And I need to get out there. And I mean, I've emailed NetMom, which is like the #1 kid site in the UK nationally. And they've said it's a great idea, and they will actually list it on their website.
Amazing.
But it's not something because it's not something that they can recommend a review or anything like that. Anyone that purchase it, then they will review it, and then it would rank higher up on their webpage and everything. Oh, so cute. Sorry.
I think she was talking about Mike there, right?
No, maybe not.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Mike. No offense.
That was just where my head was at. Okay, so just more.
So my products are really aimed at, as a parent myself, are aimed at kids, because the other thing I do are colouring books, and they sell really good. I don't have a problem with selling those.
Yeah. Where do they sell?
On my website and through word of mouth. So like my family members talk to their friends and stuff, and then they purchase it, and I've done that. That's been quite good. But see, it's them with their word of mouth. It's not
so
something that I had to do.
Is it that you're just not seeing the same traction and word of mouth with this product line?
But no one's in a state to actually test it though. No one's got the 0 to 3 that I know, or it's a great gift as well, as in for baby showers or newborns and stuff like that. But I mean, for occasions like that.
Yeah. Are you you haven't got a huge following, so how are your sales on your website? And I can't even see a link to your website on your Instagram. So when you say your website, do you mean like Amazon or what?
No, Amazon is my colouring books. I haven't actually. I have to change my my Instagram. We'll put it up there because it's there. It's live, and you did critique it, and I do need to make a lot of changes. But I just want. But I thought, if it's out there, I can change it as I go along. I don't want it to be perfect and 100%. Then put it out there.
Yeah. So but where are you getting your sales from? I know you said your website, but like, where are these people hitting your website from? Is it just being promoted to your fairly small Instagram following? Because that's quite impressive.
Yes, So through people have DM'd me personally through Instagram and said, "Oh, you have this colouring book. Where is it?" And I'm like, well, there's one on Amazon, and there's also on my website. So if you get it from my website, I generally give them free colouring pencils as well, just as a thank you. But just so it's a whole package. But it's word of mouth, and they refer them to my website.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when I did that fair, I actually sold quite a few there as well.
Amazing. So it sounds like you almost do know how to sell, Shivani.
But I didn't actually do the selling though. By the end of it, when my husband had to go, because he had to go and get some lunch, and we were there for the whole day, I did manage to talk, but it's like I just didn't get my whole point across. Because the colouring book, that's unique in itself, as in I find it unique in that, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has occasions throughout the whole year. So starts off with New Year. It has 2 sheets. It has 2 pages of, say, Valentine's Day. It has Mother's Day, Father's Day, May Day, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, July 4th, and then Christmas. And so it's all in one book, so you can keep going back to it.
It sounds very cool, and well done on the success with that so far.
Thank you.
I'm running on fumes, by the way, so I will give you a good answer, I promise. But if I look like I'm sorry, let's go like that. It's not you, Shivani. It's been a busy few days, and I don't know where to fit this in, but I've got, because it's built up, literally about 100 people to send a video to on this thing while I have dinner with Ian and then go to another talk. Craziness. Okay, so there's two things. I think you need to validate, and then you need to sell. That's really the two stages. So validation is kind of what you did with the coloring book, like you talk to family and friends and perhaps people at school, and just these immediate touch points. So instead of like putting it out broadly online and just kind of hoping, you did some early stage, like face-to-face, whether it's you or you and your husband, you did the legwork to see, like, are people willing to buy this thing? Does it have any potential?
Yeah.
And in the case of that, like, yes, it does, by the sound of it. And so when you validated it, that's when you go all in on sales and you just try everything, you see what works, you double down on what works, but you just, work bloody hard to sell the things. So in this case, what I would do, first of all, realize you might always hate selling. To some extent, I think, like, push outside your comfort zone and try and learn it, and that's a good skill to have. But like, if it's really not you, then perhaps I just saw Michael's comment. Then if it's really not you, then maybe you do partner up with your husband, and in those instances, you're creating the products and conceiving of them and doing the strategy and social media. But when you actually are walking around the school playground, you do it as a couple, and he does most of the talking, evangelizing about this and trying to get people interested, if that's more his skill set. And that's fine. So I know I keep having Ian text me as well. We're going to Mexican in a minute though. Okay, so I would do that, whether it's both of you or just him, I can't even talk. Whether it's both of you or just you, I would just get it out there as soon as humanly possible, because there's nothing quite like walking up to your exact target market. So let's say it's parents who have kids a few years below yours at school or in the nursery or whatever it might be, going up and finding that in to go and show them and get them excited about it, get them interested and get their feedback. Not even necessarily to sell anything, but just to gauge the reaction. And if they're all like, these are great, oh my God, I really want these, like, when can I get them? It's pretty good. Okay. If they're very cold and they're like, I think my kids are going to like black and white stuff, colourful stuff more than black and white, and maybe
my family members said the same thing when why are you doing black and white. But the thing is, there's the benefits behind the black and white, which is why I did black and white, because it focuses the babies. They can only see black and white to start off with anyway,
and that's amazing. But that might be an objection. I thought kids like colourful stuff, and you can be like, well, actually, developmentally, black and white works for these reasons. So there you go. It's for the baby. It's not for you. Patty. So that's fine. Like, so just get out there and validate it as quickly as possible. Same way I consulted years ago for a guy who was launching like a golf app, for example, and he just refused to actually go to golf clubs and show it to people and get the feedback of if they cared. So you need to do that as quickly and cheaply as possible.
Okay, go to nurseries.
Go to nursery. Literally, go with your husband if you want for that kind of comfort blanket. I would do that.
But see, when I'm with my husband, I can't talk regardless, because I don't know. It's I let him do the talking. When I'm on my own, I think maybe I'll try it on my own first. I will try it
on your own. You should. Go and have those conversations, and you're not looking to go and like get a load of money of people immediately. You're just getting it out there and you're seeing how the market responds. So you need to do that almost immediately, and realize there's a difference between people being like, oh, that's so sweet, that's great, and people actually be willing to pay. You want to get them excited enough that you can be like, start to have conversations at least about like sales or pre-orders or whatever it might be. But the sooner you can validate that, better. And if the market responds well and you think, great, I think this could be a winner, then just go all in on trying to sell it. And like Miranda mentioned, Facebook groups, like try Facebook groups, try going to every local nursery, try friends of friends, try everyone under the sun, try your own website, try social media, like just where are your ideal people? Where are the people who are parents of babies and kids this age? And just everywhere they are, go there, including Etsy. try it all. And what will
Okay.
naturally happen is, if it truly is a good product and the market wants it, you will see better results in some places. So maybe Etsy doesn't really do a lot for you, but you do 9 Facebook groups and 2 of them are really receptive and people are clamoring for it. And this is not just hypothetical. I know a woman who sells physical products, and she actually got her entire business off the ground, and she's now gone full-time and quit her job through Facebook groups. And it would be local Facebook groups where it wasn't spammy. People were permitted to kind of sell and share things of that nature. And she was in there and being really active in those communities. And there were 2 in particular where everyone got to know her, and she started absolutely cleaning up. So you need to work out like where that stuff is. And then there's more. You can do like business development and all kinds of bigger stuff over time. But this early stage is like particularly like hand-to-hand combat in terms of just like person by person by person selling, instead of trying to build like this crazy. I talked yesterday about brand versus selling. It takes years to build a brand. So you want to be in sales mode as quickly as you can, but what you don't want to do is like jump in feet first, try to sell to everyone under the sun, and actually it could be a shitty product that no one wants. It doesn't look like it. It looks great. But I'm saying that's the principle, right? And genuinely, like, just because I think it looks great, it doesn't mean it's not shitty. And I'm saying that to be realistic with you. Shitty does not mean like ugly, right? It might be the most beautiful thing ever, but it might just be that your target market, for whatever reason, doesn't want it. So you might have to try a different product, or you might have to adjust that product, and a simple tweak of that product suddenly, I was talking about product market fit yesterday.
Yes.
In the workshop. This is you're trying to find product market fit. So
I thought that was very useful.
Yeah, it is great when it happens. So you find product market fit, and then you sell the hell out of it as aggressively as you can. And then you see what sales avenues are working most effectively, and then you go all in on them.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
I hope that helps. So what are you going to do next?
I am this week,
Mm-hmm.
well, when I say this week, from Monday, I'm going to go to at least one nursery and
Good for you.
speak to somebody there.
Good. And not just somebody, but a bunch of people, hopefully.
Yes.
Amazing. Let us know how it goes.
Okay, I will let you guys know in the next call.
Sounds good. And thank you again for being there yesterday and chatting with me before.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to have to jump off, guys, because my head is scrambled, but you guys are awesome as always. Fred, I saw your comments. Do not be the guy who's finally busted up the courage to post, and now you've fallen into the imposter syndrome like game of like, oh my God, this only got 9 likes. I'm going to remove it because it didn't perform as expected. No one cares. Remember, it's about quality and engagement over time. You don't want to be stuck in the cycle. Like, you're never going to keep posting if you instantly jump into that classic rut. That is perhaps, I mean, we all do it, but that's maybe symptomatic of your lack of experience posting on social and your age. Like, I've been through that phase, being on the hamster wheel of like, you're like a drug addict, just needing more likes and you're never satiated. Bad recipe for disaster. So please don't do it. What you need to do, get out of your head with that. Focus on your audience. What are they going to care about? How are you going to help them? Rather than how am I going to get 20% more likes on a picture? That should not define you. Cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you as always. I will see you next week. I'm going to go get some Mexican food with Mr. Barnard. I hope that was helpful. And as you know, all marketers here, if anyone wants to take a last-minute Instagram story, tag up me/all of us, shout about this, then I wouldn't be upset because that helps get the word out. And if no one wants to do it, apart from Fred, then I won't be offended either, because you give without expectation, and that's how it should work too. I don't see many things, so I'm going to jump off.
I posted already, but I don't have everybody's handle, so
okay. Well, thank
everybody reshare.
Awesome stories.
Paul's like already done it. You're well behind. Cool. Thank you, guys.
I hope everyone has an amazing weekend as well.
Take care, guys. Take care, Tom.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Oh,